the
All right.
conversation
Yeah.
continue. Shit. Just don't be on
Nah,
some F-bomb stuff. You know what I mean?
nah.
But let the
But
conversation go.
but
Let it
that's just what it
flow.
was. That's what it was.
Ricky Suave.
Rico
Yeah. Rico Suave.
Suave.
Oh my god.
Ricky. Did you put your link in the description?
Yeah.
Not the description. The chat, Rex,
I put it in the
because we have
private
people
chat.
asking for it.
It's
No,
weird.
not. Oh, you put it in the private. I could
I
put
mean,
it
I
on
can't
there.
comment
Yeah,
in
we
this.
can't copy and paste nothing into the other
so
comments.
so
Yeah,
we're
but you can
focused.
put it on the.
Just a quick question, just to make sure we're on the same page. So we're focused on, like, we're talking about the mental health aspect and stuff, right?
Yes, we're still talking about the mental health
Okay.
aspect. That's a video, Rex. Rex videos.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the link
That
that takes
works.
direct. I mean, well, it takes it directly to the videos on my page.
Oh, okay, cool. So, I asked if Fetters can come up because when he came up last
Oh wow.
Saturday, it was at the end of the live.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping he can make it, but he's also, doing things, family man. You know how that is. What up, everybody? This is your boy Gary Lamb, bringing relevant content on life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. What up, baby girl? Look at you all, just punctual and stuff. Just punk. You better be punctual. Shoot, you know what time we going on live. You kissed me right before you left. I hit the button, so you should. You know what I'm saying? What up, cat? What's going on? What is that? Roll. God, I suck. I'm calling you Puerto Rico because I Ricana Rick. Somebody help me with that.
I'm not even gonna butcher that. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ricciano.
Yeah,
We got
Rihanna.
Riciano,
Ricciano. We have Mike in the
Riciano,
house.
Puerto Rico, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Raciano. That sounds
Ri-
too racist. Thomas, how you doing, bruh? So we're doing a continuation. Who do we have over in Rumble, if anybody yet? Okay, we got one person in the Rumble
Oh,
right
sorry.
now. Yeah, I'm hearing all your vape. I'm
Sorry.
hearing all your vape.
yeah.
Now, we're going this is a continuation of Saturday. I think we were really getting heated and deep into the conversation of men's mental health. We had got a lot of covered when it comes down to how Rex feels about his own community. I was also on a Twitter space last night. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to utilize that content as of yet, but there are parts that I would like to reference, and Rex was the one who invited me. Um, I really wanted to discuss that as well, but tonight we're going to focus on, in general, men's health and how we're doing as men. Because I really think that we're in trouble. Like that's what I said last week, and I'm saying it again. I think we are in trouble, and I want to start with someone on the panel to say what they feel or think, because last week we really didn't get too much of a conversation on that. We was focused more on Rex and the situations that he's dealing with as far as the LGBTQ community. um but I want to throw it to the panel, whomever can want to go first.
Which one of y'all
How
want
do
to
you
go first on the
Yeah,
panel?
because how do you feel? And you know what? I really want to more focus on the men right now, either June or Wally, when it comes
Okay.
down to it, because something that Mala Justice said last week still echoes today: is we thrive in chaos as men, but when it's nice and cozy and comfortable like this, we go absolutely bonkers, right? we
Hmm.
so we try to do our best to conquer whatever we can, whether it's in racing, whether it's in MMA, whether it's in corporate society. We try to find something to fight. Sometimes we even roughneck and we backpack it in the wilderness. There's so many ways that we try to offset the comfortable lifestyle that we're dealing with. So what are your thoughts?
See, I think as men, yes, we thrive in chaos, but I think it's the fact that we're forced to do so. Men are made to present themselves as being tough and able to handle anything. And it's crazy because when you're dealt with a problem, like a problem, comes towards you or whatever, or you're facing with a dilemma or a situation, when people like say you have a significant other who try and speak to you about it, at times it can come off as like, yo, just be quiet. Let me like stay to myself and try to figure this out or whatever. You're not helping the situation, so to speak. And I believe that that's very unhealthy, so to speak, because it's like having that help, it's nothing wrong with having that help. But we've been so built at from kids growing up where it's like, yo, don't speak about your feelings. If you're a man, you know, internalize it and look for results, so to speak. Talking about it ain't gonna do anything. Actions speak louder than words. And once it gets to that point where it's too much for you, I think you don't know like what to do from there. So you just continue to internalize it. And that's where you get to that breaking point. And by the time that breaking point come, you don't even realize it. So society also aids in that because if you're a person that's speaking about your feelings and all this stuff, is oh, you're being a B, man up, toughen up or whatever. So it's like you really have no choice but to internalize it and try and figure out ways how to, deal with whatever that you're going through. So I think men right now we're in a state where we pretty much have nowhere to turn to, and we pinned ourselves in a corner where we have to like figure it out or to seek help or whatever. You're viewed upon as a weak man, or you're not a real man. You're not a strong man, so to speak.
Yeah, but what is a strong man in your opinion?
Me personally, for a person that's a strong man, I feel if you're able to express yourself, handle your business, take care of your family, basically prioritize and handle the things that you need to do as a man. And if you're not worried about what society thinks and express yourself to your significant other, get that actual help and everything like that, I believe to me that is what a strong man is, because it takes a strong man to actually go against the grain like that, seek the help, even if you going to get therapy. It takes a strong man to do that because, like I said, once again, you're going against the grain and you're bucking what society is basically throwing on your shoulder. It's just like saying like it takes a strong person to turn the cheek when somebody hit them. The bigger person tackles the task that goes against the grain of what society is trying to make you pretty much do. So that's how I
I'm
see
gonna
a strong man.
I'm gonna throw that to June. What do you think a strong man is?
See, I was thinking about it while Walls was talking. I'm like, for a strong man, what I was hearing sound like a strong woman also. It's to me, it's someone living their best self, trying to improve all the time. Like I'm not comfortable with, let's say, the neglect I may, like my wife may experience. I want to get better at it. I want to understand why is it that I put work before her. I think that's a strong man, a man who's always trying to improve, who wants to do better, who understands. Like, sometimes, yeah, I get angry. I want to show anger and this and that, but I need to stop listening to what I heard a strong man is. Like, you need to just, you don't get your way, you just got to take it. And it's like, you know what? I don't know if that's a strong man. So for me, it is. I'm different. I'm someone who sound like a B, like Wells just said. I tell people how I feel. If I don't like something, I say I don't like it. And people's like, yo, June's always complaining. And it's like, it's not that I'm complaining. I'm just trying to let you know how I am so we can coexist. Because if I have issues and I'm just not saying anything, it's going to build, and then it's like I may explode. So I am that person Wells was talking about, where I let people know, and it make me. Sometimes I think twice about saying something. I gotta say it still, even though it's gonna make me look crazy. And it's like, yeah, it did, because I'm always the guy that's going against this, going against that. If let's say we're in a group, people are talking bad. Let's say they're talking bad about white people, right? I may feel like, nah, I know good white people, and it's like
Hmm.
now I'm that weak guy who's going against what the guys are saying. Nah, nah, nah. Like nah, we tough. So I think a strong man do not care what other people think. A strong man's worried about being a better version of themselves or
Ba-
closer to God. Period.
Basically, being standing in your convictions. You
Yeah.
feel me? If that's the principle that you have, where it's like, yo, I got to speak about my feelings and everything like that, you don't care about what other people think, which is pretty much in a nutshell what I was getting to as far as going against the grain of what society throws at you. Because again, you're taught to bottle it inside and try and figure things out on your own. And that if you're a real strong man, that's how you're supposed to handle it. But I'm like, at the end of the day, does that really, yes, one can interpret it as you're being strong, so to speak, but then when that person lashes out, go on a, I don't know, killing spree or some shenanigan like that, then it's like, okay, was that really a strong man? Then it comes into question like, yo, why didn't you seek therapy? Why didn't you speak to somebody about it? You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but that's
So
that's an assumption that he didn't try to speak to someone.
True.
That's an assumption that he didn't seek help. That's an assumption. How do we really know?
the thing
Also,
is though, if he did try to seek help, but he was getting ostracized about it, what does that tell you? That's the way that society sees a strong man should be. Shut up and stop being a b.
Bro,
Figure
wait,
it
It
out.
looks like it
let me tell
sounds to
you.
me that, go
No, no,
ahead, go
you
ahead,
go,
go ahead.
Gary. You go, Gary.
No, you in the box, go.
No, it's because what he was saying, even my pops, yo, I'm not someone who cries, but I was at my sister's wedding and I danced with her. And I was just thinking, like, dang, this is going to be so different where she's married. And it was making me emotional. I was a little, I was sauced and I started tearing, crying. And my father, like, yo, knock it off. Like, I'm a grown man crying and I haven't done it in so long. And it felt like, oh man, this feels good. It felt, I can't even explain how good it felt, like to release all of that pressure. And he was like, "Yo, what is you like? Knock it off." And it was like, I thought he'd have been proud, like, "Yo, you're not holding on to that feeling anymore. You letting it go. You embracing it." And it was like, "Nah, knock it. Like you crying. Like what are you doing? You know you can't be crying out here." And it was like, "Wow, I can't even cry."
okay,
Yeah,
so
we're not allowed to do all that stuff, and I don't know why. I still to this day don't understand why we're not allowed to cry, express our emotions. Why? Because we're aggressive. I mean, let's be real. The ones who are implosive are the most dangerous people. And why are they implosive? Because
They
they're
can't
not
cry.
allowed to cry. They're not
Right.
allowed to emote. They're not allowed to express their emotions and say, yo, you hurt me by saying that. You hurt me when you did that. I didn't like what you said. I'm a guy. I'm like you, June. I'm emotional as hell. I have no problem with being emotional because
Yeah.
I realize that if I'm not emotional, there's holes in the wall. If I'm not
Hmm.
emotional, I can wreck some stuff. I am
Mhm.
very powerful. And let's be honest, man, we can cause a lot of damage if we are unhinged. So I don't think that we should be afraid to cry. I don't think we should be afraid to tell how we truly feel. Like, for example, Rex and I was just talking about before we went up, how you can be on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll let Rex Tom talk. He said, as a matter of fact, I'll let you talk about it. How you get more attention dressed the way you are now than just being a regular person.
Yeah, I think Erica had something she wanted to say. You want to go, Erica?
well, my rebuttal for you guys were what happens in the event that you have a female that goes through the same things? I don't show
What do you
emotion.
mean?
Like how June was saying, hey, they were like, for him showing emotions. How about I got you one better? I'm a female that doesn't show emotion. I'm a female that works in corporate America and I can't go in how most people would go in. I don't because to me that'll show me as weak. I'm not weak. But I'm
How would that
also
show you as weak though?
it does because I'm in a male industry. So because I chose to work in a male industry, I have to be presented almost as if I'm part of that group.
But at home,
Even
you
though
can
I'm
cry.
not, but I can't go into work feeling emotional and get any sympathy around me because I'm not that's it is a time and a place for it. And I can't do that there. I also can't go in and be sassy all day long either because that's not what my job is. Okay, so most of y'all know I started in the business field in banking. So I was in banking, went into corporate. I am now in the accounting field, which is still numbers. You don't have many women that do that. One, two, I'm in the poultry industry in the South. There's not many women. If they are, they're not the accountants. They're the ones cutting the chicken. They're the ones cleaning the chicken. You go into my office, there's not many of us. And many of us that look like me. I am the only one. So I am the representation for everybody else in that industry in my field right now. I can't go in there acting like the girls would go in. I have to go in calculated like the boys. Lunchtime is from this time to this time. There's no let me be late. There's no, hey, I got to go out because of the kids. I can't go in telling you, hey, I got 3 kids and I may or may not be able to do that because guess what? Their wives are the ones going out and doing that. I chose to be in that field.
Mm.
I walk in the door like everybody else.
There
We
you go.
work at
You
8
Let
to
me
chose
5.
it.
let
I'm working 8
You
to 5.
chose
let me
it. You
but let me
chose it.
But I
let,
chose that field. That's the
let,
problem.
let me ask a question before Rex speak, because here's the thing. What I'm noticing with what Erica is saying,
Mhm.
for guys, when you go out in the field, you pretty much have to carry yourself certain standard or whatever. Like for black guys or whatever, we gotta basically mask the way that we like our true selves to fit society. And as men in general, you gotta carry yourself a certain way in society. For women, when they're out in the corporate field or corporate world, they have to carry themselves in a way somewhat with like masculine energy, so to speak, or else they're gonna get eaten alive. So at what point does, out of force of habit, you don't have that on and off switch when you come home, which create problems? You get what I'm saying? So it's like if you're out in the field every day and you spend most time, Erica, in a man dominated field where you have to be a certain way, at what point do you become conditioned, and now that becomes the way you act 24/7? And the same thing with men, the way you got to carry yourself out in corporate America. Now when you come home, you actually bring those, say that same what's the word I'm looking for, the same way you're acting out in the corporate America is what you're bringing home.
That's the problem.
Mm.
For me, I had to find a balance because you're right. Not everybody can switch that off and on. I am controlling by nature. So yes, are there certain things that I control in my home life? I do. I make sure the kids are always on task. I make sure there's a certain standard in the house. It's if I want it clean, I'm probably doing most of the cleaning myself because I know how I like certain things. But am I teaching the kids the way that I want my stuff done and cleaned? Of course. My kids know I expect excellence. I was a person that went to school, had good grades, moved on from high school to college, and excelled. So that's the expectation in my house. You're going to do those kind of tests. You're doing your activity pages, you're reading, you're practicing whatever is going on in school because that's my mindset. I am a task driven person. You have a chore chart. Did you do X, Y, and Z on your chore chart? Because to me, it's almost like a track sheet. You're checking the stuff off of a list. I'm a list person because at least I won't forget what has to be done next. But those are also things that were incorporated with me working. When I go into the job, you come in at 8 o'clock, you got to do XYZ to get to the next task to get my day done. But do I have some emotions? Yes. Am I more emotional than most? Probably not. Because for me, the emotions cloud certain things that you do. You can't always get to the next task if you're worried about what your next emotion is going to be.
Yeah, but we're talking about the workplace, right? Where you really are not allowed to be emotional, correct? You're there, you're paid to do a job, right?
Correct.
But in your personal life, right? When you leave work and you go home and you still can't be emotional, you still can't let your hair down, you still can't be yourself. That's it's like I have to be this person everywhere I go. I've
Hmm.
talked about this many times when it comes down with having conversation with Maladjusted, is how I have to be fake or have to pretend or put on airs for everybody else so they will feel better around me. And it's
Hmm.
like dude, I mean, I'm going through more mental issues up here than a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm
Mhm.
worrying about this. I'm worrying about that. I can't. You know, saying I'm not as strong as I used to be. You feel me? My feet hurt every day. I've never experienced this in my life. My knees hurt now, right? I'm trying to get back in shape and I'm like, hold up, man. It used to be so easy for me to just bounce
Mhm.
back. I'm
Mhm.
struggling to bounce back this time. That scares the hell out of me. I'm not as strong as I used to be. And I have to still defend my wife. I still have to protect my family,
Mhm.
and God forbid, might have to go to war one day. And I'm breaking down. And that's just in my physical. We're not even talking about the emotional part of saying, dang, man, I'm
Mhm.
42 years old or about to be 42 years old when I'm nowhere near where I want to be in life. You know what I mean? How the hell am I
Mhm.
getting my kids through college? How the hell I'm going to do
Mhm.
all this stuff that I'm supposed to do? But I'm supposed to still stand up. You know what I'm saying? Put it on like I'm still strong,
Yep.
like I was when I
Yep.
was 20 years ago. And I'm not that guy anymore. I still have my punching power, but it's slower. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you can dip that now. So it's
Yep.
like these things that go through my head and saying I'm supposed to be this big masculine broly bruh, right? But I'm not that guy anymore. I can't work as fast and as hard and as efficient as I used to when I was 30 or 35. I just can't. The stuff that I used to be able to throw 2 bags on my damn shoulders like it was nothing. Go in the
Hundred
store,
pound
boom, I'm
bags.
done.
Boom.
Bow,
Yep.
bow, bow. Now if I grab one bag, I'm like, all right, so I don't know what cracked. I have no glass anywhere around me, but I heard a crickle, crackle, or crunching every ounce of picking that up.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wake up and I literally have to roll out my freaking ankles because they cracking all day. And I have to deal with that. And I'm like, and I still have to pretend like I can knock a dude out like I used to. You
And
know what I mean?
and
So
and here's
go
something to add to it too, because Danielle in the comments said, Gary, code switching is normal. That's true. Code switching is normal. But I think one thing too, like what I'm hearing what Gary said, what we got to realize is for men, when we go out into the world, we have to, especially a black man, we have to kind of be fake as far as how we are so that we're accepted in society. So even when problems and dilemmas come at work, you still got to keep up that fake appearance. And then when you get home to kind of like let loose and be yourself, you still got to be conscious where I can't be myself. I can't let out all these raw emotions because now I'm going to upset my significant other. Now I'm going to treat my kids probably different because of stuff that's going on outside of the household. So it's like it's hard to find that balance where it can literally make you lose your mind
Wait,
trying to
Walls,
find like that balance, so to speak. What's
you
up?
don't think white guys have to code switch at work? Y'all don't think so?
This is this is what I will
say it
say.
again. What was that question?
She said he said, "Do you think white guys have to code switch at work?" This is what I
Oh,
will
I'm
say.
sure they do. I'm sure they do.
They do, but me from I'm speaking. Oh, this is anecdotal. I'm only speaking in my environment.
Mhm.
I have a coworker that's black. They want to give him like a higher position, but they're saying, "Yo, his attitude and everything sucks, so to speak." And it's just he's a straight shooter. He's not going to BS you. He's going to tell you how things are like any other person. If you come in the morning, sometimes when somebody say hi, you keep it short. Hi, good morning, and keep it moving. At the same time, there's a white dude in like the mechanics department. Attitude and everything is straight up trash. I mean trash. Speak to you however he want, whatever the case may be. The conversation is for this dude to, act differently. But as far as this other person, nothing is said about that individual. And
Okay.
he got promoted to a higher position where he basically runs the mechanic department at our current hub.
All
So
right.
that's why,
I'm a
yeah.
rebuttal on that one. You have to think about it. And I'm gonna tell you this business standpoint. This person is a mechanic. A mechanic is skilled labor. You are going to move your skilled labor person based off of what they can do. So their attitude may not matter if they can save you 60K on a truck. If they can go out, your truck break down, and they can
But
have you
Erica
back on the
P.
road in
But Erica P.
a few minutes.
But Erica P. Other mechanics that came there whose attitude and stuff wasn't right, that was other of ethnicities, they got the boot.
Hold on,
So,
pause just 1 second. Let me just say one thing. Time,
Okay.
Black Sheepdog. I are you still subscribed to my channel? Are you we still friends? Wait, hold on. I gotta put this on the because I said I said something in the channel, one of my videos, and he said I'm not subscribed anymore, and he put like three faces, and then I said, "Are you sure? Is that you're not going to try?" And then I see him show up, but his link is to somebody else's page. So I'm like, "Are you still subscribed, bro? Because you my dude, you know what I'm saying? You've been around for a while, you know what I mean? You know, I'm just saying, I don't want to lose my old subscribers, you know, I don't want to lose them, but I continue.
But no, like I said, I'm pretty sure white people, white men have to code switch too. But I feel like black men have to code switch even more. That's just my personal opinion on it.
let me finish my rebuttal though.
Wait,
You
yeah, this
also
is why
don't
we need.
know.
Go ahead.
You also don't know who he knows at that company either, because I'm starting to notice this being in the industry that I'm in. A lot of times these people know each other. So
Yeah.
yes, they have built 10 years, 15, 20-year rapport. So even though they could be sucky communicators with other people, you don't know if they going to these people cookouts at the end of the day. You don't know if they getting
That's
invited to
true
these
though.
people's birthday parties, because guess what? I hear it now and didn't know it. The guys that are around me go play golf every Wednesday. Now, am I new into the picture? Yes. If these jokers ask me to go play golf, am I gonna be able to go?
Yeah,
Heck yeah, because you know
yeah.
what?
But
I done took some lessons over the last few
but
years.
Erica P,
But am
does
I
that
I
getting the
ain't going
invite?
no
I
damn
might not.
golf. No, I
I
ain't
might
doing
not
it. I'm
though.
not. That's a big waste of my time. Like I'm gonna hit the ball and go get it and then hit it again. It don't make sense to me. I'm sorry. That's a
But
lot. And I love to
Go
walk.
karts
Don't get it
are fun.
twisted.
Not
It
golf.
is. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
No, the
Maybe it is
go
pleasant. I
karts,
don't know.
the golf carts. Those are super fun.
But you have to think about it though. I chose an industry that's like that. So I have to be able to blend in anywhere. So if everybody in my office is going to go play golf because this is their meet, because most companies got their outing as a team. When you're in that environment and their team out, if everybody else around you is playing golf, you best to believe I'm gonna go stand my butt up there. I'm gonna go get me some golf shoes and keep it moving, because that's what you have to do.
See, I'm not
Because
like that,
guess what?
It's
yo.
If
like
I don't go
camaraderie
show
too.
up,
yeah,
then that's going to be
I'm
the
not wasting
opposite.
my
And
time.
Yeah,
we invited her and she declined.
you'd be like
So
an
but
do you think
outcast.
I'm gonna get invited again?
Oh, see
I'm
that.
not
See,
going
see,
to.
Erica, you
but
just
it
hit a freaking major
mhm.
point. You got invited. You declined. You
Thank
will
you.
not get another invitation.
Yeah.
And we already know, let the record show, most good business deals are done on the golf course. So
Correct.
you'll be a
Hmm.
fool not to go. You
Definitely miss
know,
the
Exactly.
promotion.
I will agree with that. But I do want to say this. I was having a conversation with a conservative about a year and a half ago, and he was telling me how he was talking to someone that was white that he was dealing with, and they was having a conversation on race stuff, and he was like telling the white guy what it's like to be black and how it's like, yo, man, it's like all this stuff is stacked against us and blah 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 blah. And the white guy, he said, yeah, but you don't have the nowhere near the same amount of pressure like I have. You see, I went to the best schools, right? I had the mother and the father. I had the tuition and all the training and stuff. For me to fail is absolutely a disgrace. There's no, there's not like if you succeed, it's like great. If I succeed, it's like, well, yeah, you're white.
That's
There's
true.
no.
Yeah.
It's like so. It's like when he
So,
said that, I sat back and I thought about it. And I was like, "Damn, I never
Well,
thought about it that way." So, what are your thoughts
but
about that,
let me
Erica?
ask you,
Or should I say,
well, yeah,
Wally?
let me ask you this though, because if you ask me personally, I would rather be put in the position where I have the greatest percentage of achieving, as opposed to being in a scenario that's unknown where I have no idea if I'll be able to succeed or not, or if I'm going to be struggling.
Are you talking
So
about a white person succeeding? If you was in a white skin, let's say you was in a
yes,
white
if I was
skin.
in a white skin, I would accept that, where I went to the best schools and all of this stuff and have all the tools and I'm well
Yeah,
equipped.
but your competition went to the best schools too.
Correct.
Yeah, the competition, but 9 times out of 10, well, not, I won't say 9 times out of 10. If you're put in a position where you're put in the best schools and your family comes from wealth, then 9 times out of 10, that means that your family know people that know people that know people.
Yeah, but
So
so do your competition. See,
Correct.
yeah,
you're thinking about like it's only you're the one man or you're the big fish in the pond. No, you're the little fish in a huge
no,
pond of sharks.
but what I'm saying is, at least I'm sitting down at the table, and now it's up to me as far as my abilities to actually, you know, achieve that or not. But at least I was given the opportunity to.
You're not at the table though.
So I mean,
You're on the guest list.
No, but what I'm saying is I have all the tools. Say a company hire me, whatever.
Uh huh.
At least I
As a
got
white man,
myself, yeah, as a white man. At least I got in there to show what I can do. Now, if I fail, that's on me. Right now, I don't see myself like certain companies and stuff. Like, it's like, yo, if I could get my foot in the door, it's a struggle to get your foot in the door for them companies. I can't even sit
which is
down at the
usually
table.
why when a black person do get in that door, he blows up.
Yeah,
He does not take
yeah,
he takes no prisoners. He works 15 hours more than everybody else. He break his ass because we know that the odds of us getting that is very low.
that's very
So I
true.
get that. I
But
get
what?
that. But we're talking about a white person who's got that's in the door, but and expected to win because of all that they've been given. That's a
I
level
mean,
of pressure for your ass. Like that's a lot of pressure. Because if you don't win, if you don't fail, if you do fail, this is why you have so many executives jumping out the window when they lose everything. Because it's
Hmm.
like my life is over. Like what I'm gonna do? Start over? I don't even know what
I
that
mean, I think
start
it's
over looks like.
simplifying it a little bit. I think it depends on what industry we're talking about too. Like, what's
Hmm.
the industry geared towards? Like, I'm not gonna bring it into gender. I mean, it might be anecdotal, but in the security field where I'm working, I mean, there was about four supervisors before me. There was two black supervisors, one white, and they all failed. And my account manager told me I'm the longest daytime supervisor running so far at like 7 months. So they had a constant revolving of the door, and color didn't really seem to have an effect on that at all. I mean, anecdotal experience. I've only been there 7 months as a supervisor, and I've been tried by literally every black person that has I have to supervise. I've been accused of being a racist twice in 7 months from two different black people that I had to mitigate because they weren't doing their job. So I had to do my job and supervise. And I got accused of being a racist twice. So then I had to get back at them and be like, oh, yeah, I'm bisexual. I'm LGBT. You're discriminating against me. So, I mean,
Oh
in
boy,
certain
you didn't pull that
contexts,
out. You
oh,
didn't.
hell,
They're
You
like,
damn
didn't
look,
do
straight
that.
I
you want to
did.
pull cards? I got cards too.
Yeah,
Which
you
which
damn
which
straight I
one you
did.
want?
I can pull cards
But
too.
I did want to go to
Oh
men's
my god,
mental
that
health
sucked.
too, because it's interesting how how June referenced crying, and then somebody in the chat referenced just don't cry in front of other people. But I think there's like a couple key words like resilience. How many times can you get punched in the face and get back up as a man? I think
Hmm.
couple key words resilience, and then when crying or showing emotion, that's showing your vulnerability and letting
Mm,
people into that vulnerability, which is I have a lot of experience showing my vulnerability because this is all vulnerability right here. This was the whole reason I was stuck in a closet and I didn't want nobody to see this. So
mhm.
overcoming all these obstacles, but a woman can do that the same way. I'm not sure if it's exclusive to gender
Well,
of
and that's what I was. My point with interrupting them earlier. It's not because you have to figure out where the time and the place.
that's what I
If
was thinking
if you can't
because
do that at work, and I can't
yeah.
really figure out how to take that off when you get home, guess what? We're both in
Yeah,
the same boat.
that's what I
But
think Wally was mentioning earlier. Like it's like you leave work at work, you leave home at home, and it's like compartmentalizing, being able to
mhm.
compartmentalize everything from life that's jacking you up, everything from work, and everything from home that's jacking you up, and being able to leave those specific problems in their place where they are so you can handle the other tasks
But here's the
at the
thing,
same time.
Rex. But here's the thing. The difference is women go through life talking about their feelings. They'll go to other women and sit down and have a long phone conversation with their homegirls and stuff and talk about everything that's going on at work, at home, and express all these things. So you're actually talking it out and getting these feelings out of you because you're sharing it with somebody. With men,
That's what I do. Wait
with
a minute, hold on.
huh?
I no, I literally do that. Like I
Yeah.
have friends, best friends. I have two best friends, and Rex is one of my friends that we talked to. Man, boy, me and Rex been through some shit. You know what
No,
I mean? So it's like we talk our feelings out because a lot of times I can't talk it through with my wife because
Mm.
it's a different level of support when my wife's involved into the conversation as opposed to a man who's gone through hell and back again and walked a mile in the shoes that I walked in, right? My
hmm
wife can only guesstimate what I'm feeling and how I feel, right? She can say, well, this is how it would make me feel, but then she'll be able to dismiss it as a woman. Whereas as a man, it's like, no, you don't understand the aggression. You don't know understand the frustration. Is like, I can take you to know that I have the power. Imagine being a god and
yeah,
can't use any of your powers
yeah.
and still have to go through this. That's how it feels a lot of times being a man. It's like, I can eat you alive and you're talking to me like I'm a little boy.
But
And I
Gary,
have to take it.
but the thing is, you like how you have somebody you can speak to. Not every guy has somebody they can turn to speak like that. You get like even me, for instance. I can speak to my friends about it, about things that are going on at work. I could speak, I could speak on multiple occasions, like with my significant other. I could speak about certain things or whatever. But the problem is when it comes to speaking to like my friends or whatever, my close friends, when I'm going through it, it don't dawn on me like, hey, let me call Vic and speak to him about what's going on. Let me call June and see. It don't dawn on me because I'm so used to internalizing and handling things on my own. It's like
That's
it's hard to break out of it, and that's something that us men
It's
need to get out
scary.
of.
Yes, for
It's
Exactly,
sure.
scary.
exactly.
Listen, it's terrifying to break it. Oh my God. If I tell this man how I truly feel, he might look at me and like, Get out of your feelings. I don't want to hear that."
let me ask a
You know what I'm
question.
saying? And it's like, yo, who wants to open up and then
Yeah.
hear those words? I heard it from my dad. Well, I didn't hear it from my dad, but you have
hmm
men who
So
heard it from their father, they heard it from their mom, they heard it from everybody around them. So
Facts.
they grow up knowing don't say nothing because you're gonna get hit hard emotionally, verbally.
hmm
Yes.
what do you guys think about anonymity though? Like I'll
What is
give
that?
an example.
Yeah, I
Like
was about to say, what is
anonymity,
that?
like going to people or dudes, that support network is that you needed, like quote unquote, like suffering in silence is the whole thing. Like I've gone to the gym and I've had a perfect like conversation with a total stranger and we're just going in on all our problems. I don't know this dude from a hole in the wall, but then he's also identifying with me. I know it's random as hell, but like on the internet, like on Discord, there's an anonymous kind of chat that I've been to a couple times, and it's dudes that I don't know, but it's dudes that are also going through a lot of whole shit stuff. Sorry. So it's like,
The
does
7 minute
that help?
mark or the 7 second is good. You're good. Go ahead.
I don't know if that would help, like bring down a wall or a guard, because yeah, if you're talking to somebody that you've known for years, you don't want to ruin that self-image of this tough brawling man. I'm a
hmm
strong man like that.
But
But
you
then if it's
can't.
someone that
Okay,
doesn't know
so
you from a hole in the
let me
wall,
let me say this. Let me answer what you're saying. One, and I'm glad you said that you asked this question because I've actually been through men's teams, right? I've gone through
mm,
MDI, I've been through Landmark, I've been through the Sterling Men's Weekend. So I've been through these
oh okay.
things to deal with my problems, right? So talking to Black Sheep, we got to stay confident and bury our feelings. And you're absolutely, positively, without a shadow of a doubt, wrong. We do not have to do that. That is an illusion. We don't have to do that. There are so many men that are willing to talk to you because they've gone through ish themselves. Right. And they understand. Don't get it twisted. You have the dudes that's, that's like, what's that guy? The old guy that he's a multi-billionaire. He goes around to call everybody weak and stuff like that. Saying love him to death, but I'll never have a conversation with that dude. You don't sit and talk to a guy like that. But there are men out there that are saying, "Oh, talk to me," because I know what it was like. This is why I'm so eager to talk to men. This is why I'm so eager to talk to people like Rex, because I know what it's like to be suffering in silence, and I have nobody to understood me, and I felt just like that. I know what that's like. It absolutely sucks. Yes, it feels better to just swallow that bullet. You know what I'm saying? It feels better. Like I can just the pain will be over in 5 seconds. It only takes 7 pounds. It's over. Right. And let's be honest. Is that really helping?
I would say,
as far as speaking about it, talking out and everything,
No,
yeah.
in your life.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that
it's
really
a
helping?
comment of
Oh,
burning
absolutely
feelings
not.
down.
No, absolutely
It's
not.
not. It
No.
does. It's like you're. In my opinion, you lost you lost the war
That
because
may
you
be
couldn't
wrong though.
handle an emotion.
Y'all may be wrong though, just to let you know.
but
Because
you
the person may sorry, Rex, but let
no,
me
go
just
ahead.
tell you, the person may be going through so much, just to let y'all know, they may run up into a supermarket and start shooting people. And the best option to me is for them to take their life. Because if you're gonna inflict pain on someone else or end their life, end yours first and then consider that. So
Why
that's
you
my
had to
Yeah.
say that, man? We was on a roll until you said some goofy stuff like that, man.
But you know
Dang.
what?
Nah,
I
is he
understand what
wrong
you
though? Did he lie?
but that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. That's not a lie, and I could see that. If you feel that you've tried everything and it's still not helping, and it's the difference of you harming yourself and you harming an unknown stranger, I'd rather you harm yourself
yes.
because at least you're not taking an innocent person. That's my feeling.
Who had nothing to do with
Who
it.
had nothing to do with what you was going through. But on the flip side is I'm also an advocate for people to go get help when they want it. I don't want somebody to force you into it. That's
Here,
like with anything.
yeah.
If it's your mental
I was about
health,
to mention that.
if it's an addiction, I feel like you have to be the person to make the change. Because
You
until you see a problem with it, it don't matter how many times I send you to go get help, I send you to rehab, I send you to therapy. If I tell you to go do it because that's what I feel like you need,
Right.
it's not going to help you
Yeah.
until you decide, hey, I need to make this active change for myself, not for somebody
Boy,
else.
you
Because
are
I'm
so
starting,
spot on.
but that's the thing
Boom.
though. You
Yeah.
got people that'll be like, oh, I'm only holding on because of so and so. No, I need you to hold on because of yourself. Because if
This
you
is
can't find that self-wealth and you can't find that that inner person to heal, it don't matter
Yeah.
how many times I tell you this is what you need to do.
I got
before
next
before
after Wally.
Go
before
ahead.
I speak, I just gotta give Black Sheepdog a shout out because he was like, "You could talk to me while speaking." I always speak to you, Black Sheepdog. But this is why I always say, like, you heard me when we would talk about like people who are criminals and stuff like this and criminal reform and everything like that. What's the main thing that I always say? To me, I think criminal reform and all that is BS because of the simple fact that a person is not going to make those changes unless they want to. That's the same thing with somebody needing to speak to somebody seeking therapy for their mental health. Like, I agree with that 100%. As far as the mental health thing, the problem is though, I think so many men are conditioned where they the first thought of speaking to somebody does not come to mind. And I think that's where the problem lies because we're so conditioned to I can take care of this. Let me sit down and think about this or whatever, I'm gonna find a way to find a resolution. You internalize it and think, yo, I could fight the good fight on my own. And you don't even realize that the burden is too much until it's too late.
Yeah,
So I
but hold
think
on.
that's the issue. What's
But
up?
isn't that one of the points of being a man to get to the end of yourself to make sure? All right, so one of my things is that I try everything that I can in my
Hmm.
power. All right, I try this, I try this, I try this, I try this, I try this. none of this stuff works. Now I'm going to go out and seek help. So when I go out and I say, hey, let's just take it to a relationship standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I, we grew up together. It wasn't easy. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. It wasn't easy. I went through all kinds of Tom Likes, Tommy Sotomayor, the red pill, blue pill, purple pill, pink pill, your yellow pill, every pill you can think of. I did them all. And then I got to my wits end, and that's when I started going out and asking for help outside of myself. It's the same thing with everything that I've have dealt with in my life when it comes down to emotional issues. All right, can I handle it this way? And I realized that if I start going into that loop, and I learned this about myself, I'll go into a loop. And when I realize I'm in a loop, that's when I call somebody. Listen, I'm in this loop. I can't get out. Can you help me out of this cave? And it might just be a simple, you're overthinking it, or maybe did you go at this angle or whatever.
You
So
just
I'll
said
go
it.
to another person and start, leaning on another person while they're strong. Then that person might say, all right, you know what, Gary, I'm weak today. I can't handle you're too heavy right now. You got to call
Exactly.
somebody else. I don't get butt hurt because of it. I realize that, yeah, that person got stuff that they dealing with as well. So I'll go to another brother or a sister if possible, if I can trust the sister that
Well,
I'm talking to. You want to say
Well,
something, Rex? Go ahead.
oh
Yeah, Rex.
yeah, no, I just wanted to like piggyback off of what Erica was saying because I mean it's definitely personal to me. I definitely have gotten that help that she's talking about, and at some point, a friend or like a significant other just can't compare to what an actual professional like therapist can actually achieve in whatever 45-minute sessions. I mean, just putting myself out there, I've been in therapy for like 4 or 5 years. It absolutely saved my life. It's the only reason why I'm here now, being able to be comfortable in all this stuff and being able to do what I want and be who I want. So, in the terms of gaining strength as a man, I would say like one of the very few legitimate routes is going to get therapy, but that takes a whole other level of strength on its own as a man to admit that you yourself need help. And that's also going back to vulnerability. I think a lot has an origin in vulnerability where some men just can't allow themselves to be vulnerable. I'm
that's
not
from
sure if that's
years of being
society.
taught. That's from years of being taught in the household.
Hmm.
You think
That's
that's a
what it is.
society
Yeah.
thing?
I don't
Yeah,
think it's a yeah, I think society plays a role.
Absolutely is
Yeah,
a
society yeah.
society thing.
Society plays a role in it, which makes it convert to the household, which makes the men in the household say to the young boys, you need to be tough. And I think it's tough for a man when it comes to the very first time to actually break that cycle and get help.
Let me ask a question. How
Hmm.
do you think it's so? Is it like nature versus nurture? How much of that is primal or innate to like humanity
That's a good question.
versus societal?
That's a good question. June, you think you could tackle that, or
no, I
Yeah, I'm
think
gonna
it's
have
a
to
lot
wait
of.
on that one.
I think it's a
That
lot of
one I gotta
nature
mull
though.
on.
you think it's a
Well,
lot of nature,
no, sorry, nurture. I think it
nurture?
has a lot to do with, like, for instance, I know this is gonna sound weird, but it was a drug called DMT. I'm just gonna say real fast. It helped me get rid of my ego where I can share what I'm gonna share. I feel good when I drop tears. I feel relieved. So
Yeah.
I feel being told
That
I
sounds like
shouldn't.
some good shit. I need to get some.
Yeah, but they made it illegal. And the thing is, it's been found to cure PTSD, a lot of things. But anywho, um, I feel good dropping tears, but I was always taught not to. So I feel being taught not to, and being looked at in a funny way if I did cry, that was like they were conditioning me into somebody who I couldn't cry. Whenever I felt that emotion, it went straight to anger. I now have to, like Gary was saying, a hole has to be put in the wall or something. I have to release it. And I think that came from not being able to release it. So that has a lot to do with nurture, I think.
Here's the thing, because even like I have to catch myself with my kids at times, because if I tell them no about something or I'm just talking to them, they'll start crying, and I'm like, why are you crying? But I would also have to break it down, like in the aspect of, did I hit you? Did I take something away from you? Like I try to give them an explanation. So it's like, okay, if none of these things happen to you, why are you crying? You shouldn't be crying just because I spoke to you or whatever the case may be. So it's like you got to find that happy medium. Because if I just sit there and like, man up, don't cry, don't cry, that's going to start that cycle of making them thinking you can't be expressive like that. You get what I'm saying? So I try to find that happy medium and try to explain to them like, okay, it's okay for you to cry, but let there be a reason why you're crying,
Yes.
not just to say, oh, don't cry, man up, toughen up or whatever, because that's
Well,
what was
Mm.
done to
well,
us and that
well,
affected us.
a
What's up?
legit reason, because they will have a reason why they felt like they were crying. So that's where it get
Exactly.
confusing.
Because here's the thing,
Well,
if I
now,
take
yeah,
away
hold on.
if okay, go ahead.
Now, if they say the reason why they're crying is because of the way you said it, see what I'm saying? Like the way you said it to him was
Okay.
jacked up. It was,
Okay.
it was
Correct.
harsh.
And think about it.
You
The way
know,
that you talk sometimes is, especially if you're a little kid and you're somebody who has a sterner voice,
That's
they're going to
scary to them.
perceive it as, hey, you're being mad. Or they're taking it as, hey, you startled me. Because think about it, they're a kid. If you're dealing with somebody who's meeker, and I'm not saying I'm meek, but if you listen to my voice, it's soother. I can get loud and it still sounds soothing. If I'm a dad and I put that little bit of bass in my voice,
That's
it
scary.
don't matter what you said, it's gonna put in the waterworks. The minute you put an ounce of bass in your voice.
Rightfully so.
But if it's the point of you just asking a question, it's like, come on, that's not like I could understand if I like, for instance,
Wally,
what
I'm gonna be real 1,000 with you, bruh.
hmm
You are an aggressive looking man.
I
And
am, I
you
am,
get
I am.
you was hot about the mic being disconnected, bruh.
That's scary.
When I'm gonna talk to these kids, when I get to the you was in, bruh.
That's that high T level right there. That's that high T.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't
So
get me wrong.
I'm sitting here
Don't get me wrong.
Holy shit.
Don't
like
get me wrong. Don't
in
get me
trouble.
wrong. Yeah, I do go in. I'm not gonna front. I do go in or whatever. But if I literally like, for instance, my one son, he was acting up or whatever, so I deleted his profile in the game. He started crying. I didn't tell him not to cry and stuff like that. That's emotional. That was something very emotional to him because he took years to build up his characters and stuff. But
You deleted his
Yeah,
profile,
you
bro.
almost
I
blew up.
will punch you in
What
the mouth for that.
You
what
No,
you
game
you
was it?
give
almost you
What
you
game
yo.
was it?
you almost blew up the house with your stealing methods and stuff. So yes, you got
What game was
your
it?
profile
Mala
deleted.
just Madam's opinion. You got a temper issue.
I
There's
want to know
no
what game it
reason.
was. Like, were there
You said
weapon
what was
skins
the
involved?
reason?
Doesn't matter. No, there's
No,
it
Fortnite.
doesn't matter.
no, it
You
was no,
Fortnite.
this,
night.
that's
see,
like deleting
Wow.
somebody's resume.
but here's the thing.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
exactly.
Here's the thing. You gotta like it wasn't something where he just did something wrong and it was deleted. This was months and months and months of warnings. Hey, stop doing this. Your profile's gonna get deleted. If I'm literally telling you stop lying and stop
So why did
stealing,
you go to pro? Okay, I just okay.
because you know why? Because
You
of
do realize
this,
it's your son,
bro,
right?
the reason why is because if I'm trying multiple different tactics of correcting said issue and it's not working, and I know this right here is going to affect you,
Gotta do it.
I have to do it. At the end of the day, your feelings about this, as opposed to making sure that you walk into society
Tough.
in the
I'm
upright,
emotional for your son. I am
That's
emotional
tough.
he
because
can
I'm
be
thinking about my
emotional.
character on World of Warcraft. I haven't played that
So
game in years, and if I found out somebody deleted my damn character, I would be
But it ain't just
pissed.
the
so that
character. It's the
so
character. It's the
it's
progress.
every
It was
progress on
everything.
every game.
All
But
the
here's
stuff
my
that I
thing.
accumulated, my achievements,
Yep.
everything
Yep.
gone.
So here's my thing. If
Big government.
if somebody came and told me, well, I can't even say if somebody came and told me, but if I strongly feel me taking these actions will keep your butt out of penitentiary, I don't care about your feelings for all your progress in your games because
I'm
it's
just
my
hoping
job.
you don't wake
You
up
feel
one
me?
day and he's standing over your bed just staring at you.
That's
Cause I'm sorry.
If
you
you
be
take me, if you take
you be
me
like you
out, do it
stepped
while
into
I'm
that
asleep.
one.
If you take me out, do it while I'm asleep.
I've seen that too. You've seen the videos where dad's like, I think a dad went over his son's games with a lawnmower
Yeah, I've seen that.
in the
I've seen
backyard.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's like you got to be careful because I mean that could be the only world. That could be all like your kid has.
It could be,
Yeah,
yeah.
But
And
see,
you
but
it
see.
that's
could
the thing
backfire.
though.
It could
But you
backfire
got to
really
think
bad.
about it as a parent. You don't
But
know what's right or what's wrong on those aspects. You can only do what you feel is right. There's no
yeah,
input parent guide here, and every kid is going
Yep.
to follow it.
yeah,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you have to know, hey, what is some like imagine if all that's all that kid has. You took away the toys didn't matter. You took away the TV, it didn't matter. What's the only thing that you could take away from that child? It's going to be my life is video games.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't know that it's
That's
backed
message
up,
true.
but if you
Oh,
you
it's
took
backed
it
up?
away,
No, not everything is backed up.
well, not every, but
The
you know
only thing that was
some of the
backed
stuff
up
come
was
back.
like Fortnite. Some of the stuff come back, but
Fortnite.
majority of his stuff, I say 85% of his stuff gone.
Ooh,
And
Not
I
my
not
fault
even
you ain't
one.
save
and,
your game. You ain't
How
save
many
your
games?
progress.
and I took and here's the thing.
Holy.
I gave it back to him, right? And the same thing that we was telling him not to do, the minute he got his stuff back, he goes and does it
Okay.
again. Not once,
Yeah.
but twice.
Now he
So
got to learn a
guess who got
lesson.
it deleted
But
again?
see, and that's the
Yeah.
thing, though. It's like when you have a kid that's testing the boundaries. You want to test my gangster?
Yeah.
Guess what? Now you're gonna have to deal with it because
I'm
those
so
are the
glad I
things.
don't have kids like that because he wouldn't be in my house. I'm
What are you
sorry.
talking
But
about? I'm glad I don't have kids. Period.
but see, and that's the other thing. It's like, hey, you're learning at those ages. They're going to try to test as many boundaries as possible
Mm,
because they're still learning. They're coming into their person.
And
So
you
it's
know
like,
what?
hey, you're coming into your person, but you also have to remember you ain't grown.
Here's the
You're not
thing
out
though.
there going to go work for the stuff that you have. You're
You
dependent on somebody else. So
the
you have to think those actions through. As a kid, you're not thinking about it 360. You're only thinking about it self-resignation right now.
the
It's
main
almost the same
reason
thing as men's mental health. Kids don't see past the right now. So you as the parent have to foster those relationships. You have to foster there's a consequence to your action.
but
There's
this is
also a
the
reaction to what you do
but this
too.
is the main important thing of all of this is that his actions are now starting to trickle down to the little one, where the little one is now starting to do the same things that Big Brother's doing.
Is he in sports at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
He
He
is.
try and get him into sports, but two left feet.
But
But
Martial
did you
arts?
try?
no,
But you, yeah.
but the thing is, video games is like the escape, but it's like you got to learn responsibilities on top of having the because I'm the type of parent like weekends you don't really have a bedtime. You could do whatever you pretty much want to do. Like you have free range. Just ask and you shall receive. So if you have like all this leeway, but you're opting not to acquiesce, that's a problem. So it's not like I'm like, yo, you can't have this, you can't have that. Nah, just do what you got to do, and you could play your video games all day on the weekend, all night. I don't care. So now it's like you're deliberately choosing not to do the things that's asked of, and you see these little momentary gaps where this happens in school also.
Yes,
You get what I'm
Danielle,
saying?
I got girl
Yeah,
children too.
yeah. So it's like, yo, certain things like I gotta nip it in the butt now, even though you're not gonna be happy with the way me deleting your profile and stuff. It's for it's for the good. It's to make you better. But I feel you though, Gary. Like I would be pissed off too if I all my progress is gone. But you know what it would
All
do
I'm
to me?
saying is,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like you and I would have had a problem. I'm sorry. I don't give a damn that I'm your son. We would have had a problem.
But
But you
guess
took your
what
But
though?
kneecaps out of something. Like, just, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
deleted my character, dog.
he would have woke up with his headphones smashed.
I'm about to say breaking
Headphones.
all your stuff. Matter of fact, sad part is I just saw a video earlier today. 15-year-old just destroyed his mama house. Like broke
Mm,
the TVs,
yeah.
he broke the TVs, he took a sledgehammer to the toilet, so you can't use the toilet.
Damn.
Every mirror in the house. Guess what?
Insurance ain't covering that one.
15 years old, all because the mother told him he had to clean up his stuff before he left out the house. But so it's like, at what point
Wow.
do you nip that stuff in the butt? You're
There is no nipping in
15.
the butt at that particular
Correct,
point.
but
Look,
that's
if
the
you
thing
Too
though. When
late.
you hit
yeah,
15 and you don't have that
Late.
respect for your family, and then you go destroy the stuff, there's no, for me, there's no coming
So,
back.
so
That's
my
a whole
question is, do
spoiled
you think
brat right
that's
there.
something mental or what?
Yeah.
That's on the parent.
I want
Like,
to ask one
That's
question:
mental.
Yeah.
is there a daddy in the house?
Huh.
See, this is the thing. It was a video clip. It was only 2 minutes long. I don't know.
Because
But
Well,
I could tell you, based off of what I saw in the video, I didn't see any presence of man's items
if
that
there
were
was, he's
destroyed.
weak. And
yeah,
I mean,
I was
weak.
about to say that. Yeah.
So, and like I said,
Go
I
ahead, Jim.
I can only see what she displayed. It didn't
Mhm.
look like there was any men's shoes on the floor, or like, because it was closets destroyed. It didn't look like it was
I
men's stuff.
mean,
Let
Awesome.
me ask a question. I know this is like kind of like in left field or whatever, but okay. Something that you said, Gary, when you was like, yo, if that was my kid, he couldn't stay in my house or whatever. Do you feel like if it ever get like if a kid is acting up to a point and both parents in the house, do you think that letting that kid go and like sending them to foster care or something is a failure on you, the parents? Like, do you feel parents should ever just give up on their child like that, or they should fight through tooth and nails to make sure, yo, I'm gonna get you straight. I'm gonna get you right.
Is it a failure? Yes. But it's only a failure if you giving up, right? I don't. If you haven't given up and you're still working with your child, it's not a
Hmm.
failure. Um, putting them out the house is not a failure. It's okay. You want to grow up. You've grown. That's not a failure. That is completion. I got to the point where I realized that if you do something in this house, I'm not going to jail for taking you out. So I'm going to put you out. Okay. It's not about trying to
hmm.
reason with another human being at that point. See, my child is just a young adult who hasn't developed to the point where they're ready for the real world. If one of those boys decide they want to be on some BS, the door's right there. I'm not going to hold you hostage. You can leave. Okay. Go do whatever you need to do. And that's it. I'm done with that. My job is to get you to a certain age. I look at my kid. I talk to my kids like they're men. Look, if we ever got in a tussle, it'd be a fight. It wouldn't be me bringing out a belt and whoop your butt. It'd be a fight because I'm looking at a man now. I'm not looking at
Hmm.
a little boy. I'm looking at a man. You may not be developed enough, or you may not have the intellect to go out and do your thing, whatever. But you have claws, right? You have fists. You're strong. You're well bodied. You know, in the real world, your ass will be out there picking cotton or shoveling snow or doing something anyway. So take your ass out there and go to work.
I
You
did
don't
want to
need to
ask.
be on my dime anymore.
But
I
was
did
that
want to
the
ask a
end
question.
goal?
That
Huh?
Oh no, I thought June. I
No,
think
no,
June
let
said
no, I
something.
let
thought
you
you was
go.
asking a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna like kind of stick to questions because after all, I don't have kids, and I think I'm the only one here that doesn't have
Yeah.
kids. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on throwing opinions in there.
And
But
based on the way you going, you're never going to have kids. So
I don't want kids. I
Not
work
even
Chuck E.
adopt.
Cheese.
Not even adopt or anything.
Well, I'm adopted actually, so yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
that might be
The
that might
route
be a
to.
route I would want to
Okay.
go.
Okay. Okay.
But I worked Chuck E. Cheese in the Bronx for like 2.5, 3 months. I've
Hmm.
seen a lot of tiny terrors that kind of turned me off to kids from Chuck E. Cheese. Anyway, um, how much do you think mental health in the context of fathers' mental health has a play with society and how society has treated men or showcased men? Like, I'll put it into context with TV shows. For some reason, our American society has showcased fathers as the dummy, the nitwit, the fool, Family Guy, American Dad. I don't know if Seinfeld was one of them, but all these
Hmm.
little sitcoms and TV shows and movies that seem to picture the father as a bumbling idiot or overweight or dumb or ignorant. And all these negative attributes seem to be kind of hyper focused on men and fathers in TV shows or in society in general. And I mean, that was just like, I don't know if I worded that question right,
No,
but
you
yeah,
did.
how do you think that affects fathers when like you guys see that in the TVs and you see this kind of interaction and your kids are watching that and kind of maybe reflecting that upon you guys? I don't know if like
See,
that ever
I don't
crossed your
see.
mind.
Well, it has crossed my mind when it comes down to a single mother with a child watching that stuff. But my sons watch Family Guy like it's just a cartoon because that's what it is to them because they know what their real father is all about. But if my sons didn't have a father, yeah, they might look at freaking Al Bundy as a role model to what a man's supposed to be like and might, emulate that. But
mhm,
I am a freaking direct, what is the word?
representation.
Opposite
Oh,
of what those people are. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not that guy. They see me working all the time. They see, they saw me go from being fat to being fit. They saw me, kill the game. They saw me fall on my ass and get back up. They saw all this stuff that I've done. So they're looking at like, oh, life is going to be a cinch because my daddy can get through it. So I know I can because I'm a direct reflection of him. Family Guy does not affect them at all. But for a child that doesn't have a father, yeah, that might be a problem.
I mean, not
yes.
only as a father, but I think age plays a specific part in it too. Like you have a young child that's watching that, and then a father who is like,
I
how
used to watch it
June
with
said
my
before, is
kids. Yo,
weak.
we sit there and watch Family Guy all the time. I freaking love Peter. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I don't think no, I don't think the kids really think like that. Like Gary said, if it was with a single mother, yes, because that's all they like. Some white people that don't know black people, they may think we are what they put on television. But when you know a black person, you're like, oh, I know Rodney. He just get loud, but that's just what he do. So it's if there's a father in the house, they really won't think that's dad. No, they'll just
See,
it's a cartoon, it's
see,
not real.
I think it will play some type of role on some type of level. The reason why I say this is because I could remember as a child, like watching certain shows or whatever. Like, let's just say, for instance, Fresh Prince and Bel Air or whatever.
Okay.
Everybody
We
remember that.
can't even discuss Will Smith anymore of what he just said.
Wait,
We can't
Look,
even talk about it. I'm hurt. I'm
look,
so hurt. I'm like, oh my God, did he just say that bullshit? He did
look.
not just say that.
You remember the scene when Will's
Ugh.
father came and was supposed to take him, and he left, and the uncle had to, talk to Will, be
Okay.
like, "Yo, you're important, whatever." That scene right there, because my pops was the type where, as far as showing emotion, he'll joke around and stuff like that, but as far as showing emotion, he never did that. And that scene right there, certain things like when I see in shows, I'm like, Dad, I wish my dad like had that connection with me. So I think one way or another, if there's certain things, because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. There's always going to be an area that we're lacking in. So I think in some cases, at some level, I think it would play an effect on the child. Yes, depending on what it is that they're not getting,
But
they'll look
well,
at that show and be like, "Yo, I wish I had that." Not to say that it's gonna affect them to the point where it's gonna jack them up mentally, but to say like it's not gonna have no kind of
no,
effect, I don't know.
but was it's as far as the child accepting that my father is lazy like that. Like my father's an idiot. The way they try to represent guys as if we're just
Hmm.
idiots. We're just the dad who just stumble into life. That's what they act like on television. And we're
Yeah,
saying our
that,
kids are
yeah,
not gonna
that
look at
that
it.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I
so
agree. That I don't think they'll look at it in a level like on that level.
I'm gonna throw it on the other end now. Think about it. Those shows come on television at certain times. Most of the times when those shows come on, it's gonna be one or two things. Either your kids should already be asleep and shouldn't be watching certain shows, and they're putting those shows on that times to gravitate to the audience who wants to watch them at that time. So that's the other thing. I don't know if y'all remember, but I remember you had TGIF that
Hmm.
came on.
Oh, Oh yes, love
because
it.
I grew up
Oh.
on that. But think about the shows that came on during that era. It was, for me, it was the mid 90s. So they were trying to make more shows with representation for people that resonated, that looked like me. The dads in those shows were different than the dads in some of the other shows. Think about it. You had Carl Winslow. He was a police officer. Remember, yes, he was still chubby, but he still was out there though. Remember, he would show Eddie how to throw the football
That's
and
true.
Mhm.
That's
would
true.
beat it, and Urkel would come out. Like, you had a different dynamic on that show. But look at the time it came on. It came on at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday. Who was going to be home at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday? Kids would be home at that time. That was family hour for you to watch those shows from 7 o'clock until about 9 before you sent your kids to bed. Because remember, 10 o'clock the news came on and it was, do you know where your kids are? So that's why I'm like, it
Right.
really depends on the era and what was being watched. Now,
Here,
when you look at the shows right now, there's a little bit more free reign. It's more of, hey, what network is your kid watching? Because remember, I still got littler kids. So they're watching Disney Junior or Disney XD. So they're still watching kid appropriate shows that have different family structures.
but here's the
Compared,
thing though.
go ahead.
Here's the thing though, because in a way, I kind of do think some of the stuff they see on TV actually dictate like some of the things that they do, so to speak. Because just like Rex said, where it's like, oh, the dad is the bumbling idiot and the mom got to figure everything out and all of this stuff. My kids tend to go to mom for everything, just about. And it's like, yo, can I get a break? And I'm like I would literally be sitting down, they'll bypass me and go to mom like, yeah, we're hungry. You want food? It's like, yo, isn't your dad like sitting right there?
I love kids.
You get what I'm saying?
Wally,
And I
Wally,
what's up?
Wally.
What's up?
You're not approachable, son.
That's the version of, can I speak to your
You're
manager?
not
That is the
approachable.
kid's version of, can I speak to your manager?
You.
AKA, where's mommy?
Here's how I know that. Because I'm not approachable. My kids do the same shit. They know I'm not with Gary Lamb. Leave daddy alone.
But you don't think that shows represent that, because shows will literally have kids look towards the mom for everything and
No,
bypass the dad.
you represent that. I represent that. My kids know, leave daddy alone.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, what about I don't like daughters versus sons. Is that true? Where it's like the daughter will gravitate towards the father,
I
and
wish
then
I
the
knew.
son will
I'm trying.
gravitate.
I'm
Yes.
trying.
But
Me and my wife is talking this through.
Yes.
I want to. I
Yes.
want that experience. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's like to have a
The
daughter.
daughters will
Man,
gravitate.
listen.
See, here's the thing.
because it's
The
daddy's little girl kind of
the
thing. Like,
the son tries to get the dad's approval on things, but will go to mom for everything. But the daughter's the, hey daddy, I love you. Can I get a hug and all this stuff, and like gravitate like that or whatever. So the daughters will actually like try and stay up under the dad. And yeah, so that's true. That the sons gravitate towards the mom and the daughters gravitate toward. And the thing is, the dad, like the way I have a stern voice towards my son, I have a gentler voice towards the daughter, because it's like, this is a,
Yeah.
that's my
yeah,
baby
so
girl, you know.
yeah, so you gonna be more tender with
Big
That's a
old
damn
softy.
shame.
Yeah.
Baby, just
Big
like-
old softy.
so
Yeah,
there, bro.
yeah.
Would you,
Even after
so
I
would you would have chopped up her Barbie dolls if she would have did what your son
But
did?
see, but that's the thing though. Being the mom, I do the same. If I'm taking away your stuff, I'm taking away yours too.
but
That's the kicker. You got to remember, there's big age gaps between the two. So what would resonate for her may not resonate for him. Her life is her Barbie dolls and comb.
no,
like, you
no, no,
can't-
no, no. Her life is the apps on her tablet.
Yeah, that's it.
So the apps on the tablet get deleted. Off with the apps. So whatever progress you had on your tablet, chopped. Start all over when you start showing good behavior. So yeah, equal opportunists. Equal opportunists.
Just make sure she can't restore the purchase.
Oh no,
Oh,
she
oh,
yeah.
see, we ain't got them kind of kids. You got all types of child locks on stuff.
Oh,
I
If
got
because
a
I
that
don't
perfect.
put it back on,
because
it
because
ain't going back on.
because my son ran up a good almost $200 bill of in-app
Oh,
purchases, and he knew what he was doing because your man could read.
I
He could
think I
read, so he knew.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
I got a story for you guys actually. It might
Uh-huh.
actually it might kill it. You guys know what Roblox is?
Of course,
Oh my gosh. She
of
lives and dies
course.
by Roblox.
The
Go
little
on.
I
one,
got
that's her
Yes.
game.
I got a nephew and my sister blew up our text. I got three brothers and my biological siblings and my little nephew got to my sister's iPad on her account, changed the password, and bought $2,000 worth of Roblox content.
Ooh.
Ooh, wow.
Mm.
Wow.
And I'm on, and I was only fussing for a couple $100. You talking a
Right.
couple
Wow.
Yeah,
$1,000?
she got I think half of the money back or 1,200, but she
Oh
had to
my
go through
hell.
Hoops and
she had to
bounds, hoops
Yep.
and bounds. They do not
PayPal
play
Yes.
to
about them
bank and
games.
Apple two
Wow.
thousand
Oh
dollars.
my
Yeah.
I'd have been sore.
yo.
You talking about deleting stuff and breaking stuff? Two
Oh
Look,
yeah.
two k.
I don't like I say, yo, don't put the pad to the butt, but you whoop their behind and make their behind cry. Like
2K. That's a whole car
yes.
I'm
payment,
about
a
to say you
phone.
you you talking that's a couple of things that was planned. That could have been a
You
vacation.
know, for
That
some
could have
people,
been
for some
mortgage and
people
car payment.
that's a
What is
whole
you
month's
He's
worth
doing?
of
I think
bills.
he's
That's a
like
whole month.
9 years old too. He's only 9,
Yeah, but
like
see,
nine,
this is
10
the
years,
thing though.
and he
You got to
changed
look
the
at the age
password.
brackets.
You gotta
A
be careful.
9-year old, think about it. If you're 9, you've probably had access to these things since you were 2 or 3. Because think about it. Devices is different than we were growing up. I had a device, but guess what? They weren't created for the mass media and mass population at that point. So it's like,
$2,000.
it's different.
We
I
had
can remember
snakes.
when AOL 3.0 came out. I was a couple, I was probably like 5 or 6 at the time, but I was in a house that had electronics. So I could remember having access to all of this stuff. But I could also remember that was mom and dad's stuff back then. So you don't touch stuff unless you ask one. And you wasn't purchasing stuff on AOL back in the day. You
Look,
ain't had no access to no credit card.
look,
It
look,
wasn't like the stuff now where it's locked into your phone
look.
and you can easily push a button and it's going straight to your
I
wallet.
can attest to watching cable and me ordering pay-per-views, or remember the old show The Box back in the day?
Yeah.
The
For the
Box.
music videos.
I've called and ordered music videos to play and recorded them on a VCR. So I'm guilty of charged of
Oh
doing, but I
yeah.
didn't rack up no $2,000. And I remember like back in the day, them WW, because I was real big in wrestling, them WWE hotlines where it's like, hey, you can call up and talk to the Honky Tonk Man or Ultimate War. And yeah, I called up. Pop Dukes got that bill. Oh man. Oh man, yeah, man. It was a big misunderstanding up in that house.
Did it
So
get
I'm
physical?
guilty of charged of doing purchases and stuff, but I knew my limit.
See,
I
I
knew
I
my
never.
mean,
limit.
All right, so we had a beautiful moment of
Venting.
reflection of being children
Yeah.
and dealing with children, which is the most therapeutic thing that a parent can do because I'm gonna be real with you. My kids talked me off the ledge many nights without
Phew.
even being up, right? Just
Yeah.
being born, just being in that
Hmm.
room sleeping,
Hmm.
talked my ass off the ledge. So let's get back to the real meats to the potatoes of the conversation.
Yes.
Should we cry as men? Should we emote? Should we talk about our emotions? Should we express our thoughts and collaborate with one another?
You know what? I think as men, yes, we should cry. Like me, I would love to experience crying, but I didn't have anything that made me actually cry. Like even when my mom passed and my Pop passed, I thought that was going to be the breaking moment, but I didn't experience anything that actually made me cry. But I would love to get it off my shoulder. I think one time I had a dream of my mom, and that junk felt so real. And when I woke up, it damn near brought me to tears, but I never cried. But I honestly think crying is therapeutic because I got to that point where I almost felt like I was gonna cry or whatever, and it felt so therapeutic. Like, dag, I felt like I alleviated a lot of like stress and anxiety off my chest. So men crying, yeah, I believe a man crying will help a lot. And I think us men, we need to step up more and tell other men, yo, it's okay if situation is too much for you to bear. It's okay, you could hit me up. I'll be there for you. Just like give that extending hand. Like, you don't got to tell them, yo, express yourself, do this. Just be like, yo, if you ever feel like it's being too tough, call me. I got you.
Yeah.
It's easier when we give out that helping hand to make it easier on that person so they don't feel like they're sacrificing themselves or being vulnerable to whoever they want that helping hand from. So I think if we take that step of like at least extending our services, like, yo, I got you if you ever need anything, I think that will go a long way, me
Walls.
personally.
To even stretch that a little further, just to even hit them up, make the calls, and just to see like how you doing. Like, I know you had the blah 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 going happening. Like, how you feeling about it? Are you stressed? Are you not calling them and asking? That does a lot because it's hard sometimes for us to reach out when we know, like, you know what, I should reach out now. And it's
Yeah.
like we wait till it's too late. And it's like, no,
Yeah, but I listen. I have partners that you reach out, they ignore your ass because they know why you're reaching out.
oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
they will
well, and
not talk to you.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, even, on my end, I had I had male friends growing up. I had to be the non-judgmental friend because sometimes they didn't have somebody to talk to. They didn't have
You know
that
what? I'm
male
so
persona to
glad we
talk
got
to.
your behind up here because here's something that I really would like to. Because
God,
Erica, I'm gonna be 100%. Let me put myself on a big screen. Hold on, because I want to make sure you see what I'm saying. Uh, I don't trust you. I don't trust. I'm waiting for the horns to come out your head. I'm waiting for you to spew the green stuff. I'm waiting
Oh
for the
God.
B word to come out. I'm waiting because let me tell you something. I have been through. I'm gonna take the boxes off. Hold on, got to take the boxes off. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
actually
yeah.
see. I have been here on this earth, and I have tried to trust women so many times, and they always fail me. And you have held up longer than I'm used to, and I'm nervous because I'm like, wait a minute, because I like you, and I want to listen to you, and I want to talk to you. Please don't change on me, please. Be the unicorn in the world. Don't do it. Don't do it, baby. Don't do it. Because let me tell you something. I don't trust you. You look like them. I don't trust you. Don't trust you at all. Just letting you know that. All right, let me continue.
I will say this, Gary. What you're seeing is 100% authentic
I,
from her.
I would say that
Yeah,
she is. I will hope she is.
yeah, I'll say
But
that.
I have a question for you. I have a
go
question.
ahead.
As a woman, do you get a lot of men who do just what I just did and say, I'm afraid to open up to you
Yes.
because women have used what I've said to them against me because they got angry, because they wanted to hurt me and they wanted to lash at me. So I used to open up to women like that. And then next thing you know, they'll throw it at you in your face. And you're like, damn, I can't believe you just said that.
Hmm.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like how to so
So this is my logic. And the reason I'm gonna say this is my logic because I do I don't like people doing that to me. So because I don't like that to be happening to me, if you're my friend, you my friend. I don't care what you say, it's not leaving what we say. And I'm also have to throw this tidbit out there. Sometimes I don't always remember the conversation. So that's another thing. We could talk. I can
bullshit.
bet
I
no,
don't believe you.
I am so
No.
serious. I
I
am so
don't
serious.
believe you. You
We
No,
can
that's
have
telling
the
true.
me
best
a woman?
No,
conversations,
that's true.
and I will
It's
not
it,
remember
it's true.
past that. And the
It's
reason
true.
is I have so many other things that go on in my head that I don't always remember.
Mm,
But
mm.
like I said, I've researched some of everything. So I'm a good resource for most of my friends. I'm going through such and such. Hey, matter of fact, I got you on. I told you I watch 90 Day Fiancés and all of this kind of stuff. So I was talking to a friend. They were like, yo, I think I want to go. I'm talking to this female. I know she is not a citizen. What are my options? He laughed at me. He goes, I
Find
don't
another
know.
woman.
But this is the thing though. He laughed at me. He said, I talk to anybody and nobody know what I'm even talking about. I said, oh, you got a few of them. Is she here because she's on a work visa? Is she here because she goes to school here? Like, he's really looking at me like, how the heck you know all that? I said, because I watch TV and I Google a lot.
Mm,
He didn't expect those words to come out my mouth. I
mm.
asked him, does she have her working papers here already? Are you going to be okay with her having to go back to her country and you starting either the K1 visa if you trying to get married, or are you going to allow her to find another job here to work? Then you're a date and then you figure it out. He didn't know none of this. But I laughed and said, guess what? I'm not saying I only know this because I was Googling the TV show and figured out how some of these people were going, either coming into the country for those shows or vice versa on 90 Day Fiance the other way. He goes, anybody I
Oh,
talked to, they would not have been able to answer that question for me. And I answered it right there. You asked me the right question, the information pops out my head sometimes. On the
I got
flip side, growing up, I was always everybody's little sister. I didn't grow up in an area that had a lot of females. So the guys had to become comfortable with me because that was it. If I decided I wanted to go outside, I had my twin best friend my best friend had a twin brother. So that was it. I was always around the boys because we were the only two girls and everybody else in a 6 block radius were boys. So then it was, okay, well, I don't see you like that, so I can't date you. So for me, it was by default, I was a little sister. I had the firsthand knowledge. I knew the guys around me were calculated. Guess what? People laugh because a lot of times they were like, yo, she was more like the dude in a relationship than the chick because that's how she grew up. What you got was what you got because that's how the boys around me were. There was no sugarcoating it. There was no decoding. There was no, hey, let me hide my emotion because guys was just freely talking. So then you talk to me and you be like, yo, Erica ain't got no filter. It's not that Erica don't have a filter. It was because the people around me didn't have a filter when I was growing up. So then it was
Mm.
she became a unicorn. It was if I like you, I told you I like you. I'm not going to throw these little hints to tell you, hey, I like you. I'm gonna also tell you I don't like you like that. Because for me, for a male friend to be friends with a female, that means I can't like you. That means we could not have crossed the boundaries at all. You could not have seen me getting drunk because that's my mindset. That's a no-go. Because if you're my friend, you my friend, and you don't pass go. You don't pop up 12 years later and be like, yo, by the way, I liked you. Because in my head, I'm gonna cut you off because my
here.
cutoff game is strong.
Here,
I
here's a story, and Erica, you can chime in because I don't remember it in detail, but it'll probably ring a bell when you was telling me about it. Erica was telling me about one time that she had a friend who was married or something like that, and the dude that she was with, it was something that he was doing or something like I forgot what it was, but the friend spoke to Erica and another friend. The friend that the other friend that person spoke to basically was like, "Oh, he's cheating or doing whatever, whatever." And Erica was like, "Yo, maybe you should look into it and see, because the way you're describing it, it sounds like XYZ. I don't know if it's coming back to you, Erica. So when the friend,
oh
so
yeah.
yeah, go ahead and break. You could break the
Okay,
story down because I don't
so
remember the full details.
details is my friend wasn't married, but they were thinking about getting married. So she felt that the guy she was dealing with was being sneaky. It's not that he was being sneaky cheating. He was being sneaky because he was trying to plan this big elaborate engagement party. But in her mind, it automatically went sideways. She's so used to guys doing her dirty, that the one time that she got a really nice guy, her mindset automatically jumped to
Yeah.
he's out there cheating and da, da, da. And I'm like, you can't do that. I don't care if I've been hurt in the past. That's not where my mindset goes, because you can't bring the same baggage from one relationship to the other. I am almost that I put blinders on going into the next thing. I'm gonna make sure that I'm healed to move from one situation to the next. So I had to explain to my friend, I don't care what you did, and you can't. That man is not going to stay there if you keep thinking he's going to take care of all of your brokenness. You either have to figure out how you're going to fix yourself to be the best representation of you to move forward. Now, the other friend, on the other hand, was, girl, he out there, he must be doing something. If he, and you can't be that person either, because guess what? If you didn't have a conversation, you didn't see the clues, you ain't got no evidence. Why is that your mindset?
That person's an idiot.
And let me ask you a question. Why do women do that without asking the question?
Because they're idiot. Well, that one's an idiot.
Well, this is the thing though. People are they create their own story in their heads. And I find that I do that sometimes. I selectively hear what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And because I selectively heard what I wanted to hear, I filled in the rest of the story without having the information.
Okay, so that's strike one. That shows that you're a woman right there. That's strike one.
No,
we already got one strike.
No. It is
one
not a strike.
right there. That's
it's not a strike because I am also
because
the
women.
Because I'm also the person, when I start thinking that way, I start asking questions because I'm trying to fill in what needs to be filled in before I jump to that.
How
conclusion.
do you ask the questions, Eric?
Look, I have to be a 5-year-old. You going to be mad because I'm going to give you the same question about 20 times because I'm still trying to.
Which means you didn't hear the answer properly.
Correct. But that's the thing though. If I didn't hear it correctly, I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand the logic that went with it, which is why it gets frustrating sometimes, but I have to ask the right question until I can interpret it correctly.
I'm kind of like that.
I'm okay with that. I'm with that.
I'm like,
yes, black sheep strike. Because when I hear stuff like that, it's like, excuse me, what you said hit me like this. Is that what you meant? And then I'm like, oh shit, I better have the right answer for this.
But that's the thing, though. You can't always turn that off either, though.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The thing with Erica is you'll say something, like you'll say a full sentence. She'll read the first part of the sentence or taking the first part of it, and the rest of it don't digest. So she'll take that one thing and run with it. Then it'll be a discussion on that. Once that discussion is done and it's like, okay, you go to your space, I go to my space, so to speak. Then like once everybody come back level-headed, the approach will then be blank slate, whatever. And the way she was coming off before is going to be totally different because it's like, okay, I processed the stuff that you were saying, whatever. Reality is starting to seep in. Let me get my delusional thoughts out of the way and actually have a civilized conversation where it's like not going to have that same mentality of thinking the worst, so to speak. It's more open.
Okay, so this is what I think you said, right?
Yeah.
You'll say, I'm taking out the trash, then I'm going to the park, right?
Mm-hmm.
She'll hear, I'm taking out the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Then 45 minutes later, you come back home.
Mm-hmm.
What up, Keo? You come back home and she's like, I thought you said you was taking out the trash. What took you so long?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, I said I was going to go to the park after that. Oh, I didn't hear that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you caught up. I couldn't catch up, and you caught up. Nice.
Yeah.
I was lost in that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife speak Chinese too, so.
But that's the other thing, though. It's like,
well, you know, she's watching too.
But that's what I was gonna say. So for me, it's, you need me to be a listening ear. Got you. You need somebody to just talk to, and they not giving you a resolution. got you. But if you want the resolution, you tell me what you need the resolution for, because I'm gonna figure that out too. Because I do that really well. But don't make me, on the flip side is, it's like, don't give me half information, because I want every detail to give you a
Next
response
is
back
June, then
sometimes.
is Rex. Okay, so hold
Go
on to
ahead.
that.
Erica, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, June.
I didn't have no. I didn't have anything to say. I was all in
Oh,
y'all
okay,
business.
then it's Rex. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I like where it kind of segued and it popped into my head like communication.
Hmm.
Like going back to the suffering in silence and how much of the problem is that communication, men versus the women. But then at the same time,
Yes.
a lot of people, especially the younger guys, are going longer and longer years in between relationships, not getting that kind of interpersonal reaction. Along with take into
Yes.
consideration that a lot of these kids' lives are on these dating apps like Tinder. I mean, for the LGBT is Grinder or
Yes.
whatever kind of dating app, Facebook. It's like there's so little in-person reaction or interaction rather with the younger kids and the younger boys that are turning into men. And then when they get like face to face with women in that kind of relationship tug of war, maybe they're not really like keen or that experienced on how to react in that moment like we were.
Yes.
Like my
Nope.
relationship.
Just think of
Mm-mm.
just
You
think
said
about
we
it.
were. I got
Huh?
you
Just
one.
just
I can
let me
remember when. I'm sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
Oh,
gonna
I
say
mean,
this. I
I
was
grew
gonna
up in
say
the
this.
90s.
Just think about it. How many of them actually
The
take
sex
time to
apps. Yeah.
talk on the phone?
Yeah. It was
And
all
Oh
like
God,
texting and
you
nobody
get what I'm
talk on the
saying?
phone
emojis.
anymore.
Yeah, to take time to just, hey, how you doing? How was your day? Just simple as everything is text or on the dating apps. And yeah, I like I'm pretty sure they probably experience where they'll talk up a storm, whatever, via text, dating app, whatever. But when they meet up in person, and everything, it's like crickets. You don't
Yeah.
even know
And
how
that's
to
why
It's like
speak.
when I used to date, Lord, I can't believe I'm about to say. When I used to date, I didn't talk on the phone nor did I text, man. The phone conversation was for two reasons. One, to say hello, do a meet and greet, a quick 15-minute conversation to see if you're worth me going outside and spending money on you and setting up the date. That's what the daggone phone was for. All right, that's it. We got to go because I'm not about to sit on the phone with you for 2 hours, have nothing to talk to you about when we get in person. Right. So
well,
I never did that. It was the
But
only time I started
yeah.
doing that is when I got to a point where I was actually really interested
oh
in you and you had
huge.
a great conversation.
But I mean, that's like that goes to codependency. Like if you're sitting on the phone for hours not talking, that's a little codependency, which is
Hmm.
unhealthy on the other
But
spectrum.
who does that?
Yes.
Okay, so
Codependent, overly
but that's what I
codependent
was gonna
people.
say. You got to think about it, right? Things evolved. So think about the people that met through. I'm gonna throw this out there because it's old. Remember them AOL chat rooms? Remember, people would be in them chat rooms talking up
They
a
were
storm.
fun though. Hold up.
Yeah.
They were
It was
amazing.
Yo,
fun.
Oh my God. They
Hey,
were fun.
and
Newark, New Jersey, 2020, 2000
Yo,
chat or
yo,
whatever.
what we used to say? Who in here? Remember? You go in, who in here?
you
I
have to
I
FL.
used to
understand.
love
I
that.
FL.
So sick.
Yo,
But
and you would be mad if you go in there and it's full. You would be hitting enter truck, keep
you
trying to
like,
get
let
because
me
remember
in, let
it was
me
a
in.
certain
Hmm.
amount of people that could be in there.
Yep.
But now think about it though. The kids nowadays don't really, like, you got your Roblox chats and all of that, and it's worldwide, but you don't have the group that's the local sometimes that's right there.
Right.
So because you don't have that aspect of it, on top of, hey, we're using these dating apps, you're texting all the time. Even in school, you're texting. You're not building them relationships.
Yeah.
You're not figuring out, hey, how do I talk to so and so? Because you ain't got that female friend to go talk to and be like, yo, if I go talk to her, what do I need to talk to her about? You're not doing that.
Yeah.
You go talk to, like, okay, so I'm gonna throw this out there. Like, I got best friend nephews, aka my best friend. Your kid is my nephew. I'm listening to the conversations. I'm like, so you about to be six? So you just turned 16. You live in a state where you could drive at 16. What you about to do? Nothing. I'm about to go home and play. I'm like, okay. Are we talking to anybody? I don't care if it's a girl or a boy, but are we talking to somebody? Nah, I ain't talking to nobody yet. Okay. Is anybody checking for you yet? Like, because I'm in my head. It's like
That's
these
putting
are the
pressure on.
but these are the conversations we need to have because
Yeah.
you're graduating at 17. You're not graduating at 18. So because you're graduating at 17, I need to make sure that you're not going to be one of them young and dumbs and pop up pregnant tomorrow because you don't know
Yeah.
the other conversations. I'm not saying you didn't have the birds and the bee conversations, but you also don't want to put yourself in you going to college. You're 17. You're going to college with a mixed group of people.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to have a conversation with them. You
It's
need to be able to tell the girl that's already 21, yo, don't holler at me yet because I'm only 17 and I'm jailed. Like in my head, those are
That'll
things
never
that people
happen.
don't have them
That's
conversations
Never happen.
early on.
Why you say never happened?
A 17-year-old is gonna tell a 21-year-old
I
guy. You're
get
saying
that,
a
but
guy?
guess what?
That ain't
Those are the
Tell a
happening.
conversations that people
21-year-old
need to
woman?
have sometimes, though.
Nah.
Yeah, we do have those conversations. You
You
know what? How
have
it
to.
is, yo, dog. If you ever get a chance to get a 21-year-old in your bed, you better smash. I mean, you
Yeah,
dog. I'm
yeah,
talking like yo, when you're done, the lamp should be in the wrong place. There should
yeah,
be no mattress on the bed. You should be killing. I mean, that's the conversation you're going to have. It's
Yeah.
not going to be
yeah.
on some like, do you realize with the laws and the law? Nobody's going
No,
to
no,
say that.
but I get that, but that's the problem though. Who if you're not having that conversation with your
Great
mama
example,
or
Dad.
your
You gave
daddy,
him
and you
a
not
great
having this
example. I ain't
conversation
whoa,
with your
whoa,
aunt,
whoa, 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 whoa,
who is
whoa.
you having the conversations with though?
Let's entertain a great example, Dad. Let's.
Exactly.
I am a man. Okay, I am
Correct.
a man. I'm a man, bro. That's just what it's going to be. I'm not
Correct.
going to
But
That's
like
say
you
reality.
said,
I've already
that's
had the conversation with
uh,
my
correct.
son. Right?
Reach.
Hold
But
on.
what
Let me finish. Let me
happens?
finish.
Dad,
Hold on. Let me finish. I've already had that conversation with my son. Right?
Mhm.
Once a man becomes a man, it ain't shit dad can say to him.
exactly.
Nothing.
All I can do is say, dog, if you're going to go this route, you better smash I already had the birds and the bees. I already told him about the condoms. I already told him that he should wait for marriage. I told him all that. But guess what? Your dad didn't wait for marriage. I didn't do all the craziness that my father told me. I went and smashed the hell out of that. I did everything I could. Right? Yes, I did it the protective way. But come on, man. We got to be freaking real here. We're
Fact.
talking about hormones at
Yes.
17 years old.
Correct.
And when
Correct.
you're ready, you are ready.
There's
Yes.
nothing
Nothing
going
is
to
But
gonna
stop
stop
that's the
you,
you from
thing though.
doing it.
But that's
dude.
what I was gonna say. Those are those conversations that everybody's parents are not always comfortable with. Everybody don't have that dad to have that conversation with. So then it's who else do you talk to? That's when you gotta lean on your community.
And now here's the
Because
reason why. No, wait, let me finish this. The reason why you're saying this
Wow.
is because you don't know what it's
Wow,
like
Wayne.
to be the boy in the room where everybody's silent.
correct. I don't.
I do. And you know why everybody's silent. Because you didn't perform properly. That's a freaking that will destroy your
Oh.
ego and so bruh. Cause you ain't getting no play from nobody in that school. Ever.
And you know
All
what?
right.
That is
Every
the
I
fear.
think I think for every boy growing up, that was one of his biggest fears when it came to having sex the very first time. Because you already know, like the talk was, if somebody performed bad or they had a little Johnson or something, it went through the wire. It went through the wire. So I think for a lot of boys, it like the fear of having sex for the first time was they're gonna underperform or they're not well equipped or whatever. And like Gary said, it goes through the wire for something bad. You ain't getting no play from no girl. You better switch schools. You better tell your parents, yo, can you transfer me to this other high school or this other school or whatever
Because
the case may
nobody's
be.
gonna forget that. Nobody's gonna
Yes,
forget that.
yes.
And I agree. And I
It'll be
understand where you're
playing in the
coming from,
bathroom
Erica.
stall.
I understand where I mean, Erica, excuse me. I know where you're coming from, Danielle. I get where you're coming from, but I don't have daughters. I can only talk about sons. I can't talk on a daughter level. I can only talk about sons.
But now think about it on the flip
Mhm.
side. I'm the daughter. I'm the person where my father had to have a conversation. Once you get labeled, there's no taking that back either. So just like how the boys go, if you got that little Johnson, everybody going to know. Well, guess what? Everybody going to know you smashed at 14 because it's going to get around. So it's
And that's
either
another
you,
reason why you tell your son to keep your mouth shut. That's another thing I would have
but it
said.
doesn't
Yes.
matter.
That's nobody
And
else's
to be honest,
business.
it's not usually the boy. I'm gonna tell you who it is. It's the girls talking to each other.
Yeah.
The girl gonna go back and tell her best friend,
Oh.
and the best friend gonna get pissed off one day. But that's the thing. That unicorn is me. I went to the all girl school, so I saw the aftermath of the other chicks going on. People don't know that. When you go to an all girl high school and you're not the fast one, oh, you see everything. I saw everything.
Mhm.
So that made me be the okay, we know not to do that. At
Mm.
least if I am going to do it, I'm not telling y'all that.
You ain't telling him nothing.
Because remember, I said I'm calculated to a fault. I grew up around boys. So I knew they was going back talking to each other too. So if I knew y'all was already talking back to each other, going, hey, that girl right there, she easy. And they done passed her through the group. So if I know they done passed you through the group, what do you think the girls is talking about on the other end? Yo, you want to go mess with somebody and you trying to lose your virginity, or you want a good time? You go holler at so and so best friend. It's not that it was on purpose. It's just I heard it from both sides of the spectrum, and then I kind of just sat there in the middle, like, well, I know not to mess with you because you done messed with 3 girls in my school, and I know not to talk to you because you go and run your mouth. So
Julie, you
yeah,
look like you
that's how
got
that
something to
unicorn
say.
got created.
Wait, Erica, let me say this. Yo, sex from hearing y'all speak and just thinking of the past, yo, sex has a lot to do with our mental health, y'all. Like sex.
It
Yes.
does. It has an
Yes.
absolutely because see, here's the thing. Most of our freaking everything we do is for sex, men and women included.
That's
Every last
crazy.
thing we do is for freaking sex. We don't sit here and say, I'm gonna do all this so I can buy a Rolls Royce and just look at it. No, you got the Rolls Royce, so you can get sex.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you also have to think about it on the other end. You got the girls in the group. If like, and I'm gonna throw this out there because it used to be a TV show. You had groups of girls all plotting to get pregnant at the same time. So if you got
What?
shows like there were shows like
The
that
devil
back in
is
the
a
early.
lie.
No, I'm telling you, back in the mid 2000s, because okay, I was pregnant in the later 2000s, and I was watching these shows while I was
Really?
going to the doctors.
Oh
So
my god, that's a problem.
it was like the show Unexpected. So some TLC show that I picked up on over the years.
Wait,
That's
that's
why I
not
don't
had-
have
terrible
cable.
though.
But you had 3 sets of cousins, all 18 years old, all plotted to have kids around the same time. But then when you start looking at it, it's a generational thing. Each one of their parents had kids before they was 21. Each one of their parents was not in they had multiple men coming in and out the house. You had one that broke the cycle. She married the baby dad. But all of the other ones, all they saw were the women in the house with all these kids
Okay.
and the men being revolving doors. So, but those are also mindsets too. If your house made it acceptable to have kids at 16, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a whole bunch of kids having kids at 16 one way or another. Either they had the conversation and didn't resonate, or you had the horny teens that was going to do what they wanted to do anyway because they created the rules in that house. So I'm like, it's a catch-22 when you look at them circumstances.
Let-
But then you
Okay, this is
Go
a
ahead.
new generation because somebody just said sex is boring. I'm lost. My head didn't. I don't even know
Yeah.
what. I can't even think no more.
Who said that?
It said I got the
Uh,
fence for me. Sex is boring, but TBT. I had too many women.
Okay, wait a minute. Back up.
That's different though.
Rewind.
Yes.
You said the magical phrase. I've had too many women.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course, it's boring at that point.
Yeah.
All right,
This-
you
I
thi-
had
you
different
said
position.
like that. You done ran through the freaking ringer. So yeah, you know.
This is one thing I would say. Like, if we actually went through the way that
I mean,
marriage and sex is supposed to be, where it's like, yo, you stay a virgin till you actually, the first time you have sex is when you're actually married or whatever. Do you believe that people would think they're actually having bad sex? Because that's,
No.
you get what
They
I'm saying?
wouldn't know what
Exactly.
it was. So
Exactly.
it's
So
gonna
it's
be
like,
great to them because
yeah.
they ain't got nothing to compare it to.
So it's
Yeah.
like we're ruining the experience for ourselves anyway. You get what
Yes.
I'm saying? Like by
the
being
pressure.
promiscuous. Yeah. But here's a question that I have, going back to mental health or whatever. Do you all think if a person is married or in a relationship, whatever the case may be, and they're getting sex on a regular, that will sex on a regular and it's good sex, do you think that would decrease their stress level by like tenfold, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
to
I
to
Yeah.
have
actually
something
help
that I
their mental
say.
health?
Here's what I say about sex.
100%.
Hmm.
If you're having sex with somebody you trust and you love, sex is very much a de-stressor.
Mm-hmm.
If you are just smashing to be smashing, it's a ton of more
Stress.
stress.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because if you do a great job, this woman's going to want to talk to you all the time.
Hmm.
She's going to start creating formulas
Mm-hmm.
and things in her head. She's going to want more than what you're willing to get. It becomes work. All right. But when you're dealing with somebody that you're committed to, it doesn't matter because you're committed to this person. Right. So I,
Mm,
I do see
Rex,
how sex can
Rex,
be.
Rex was
What?
like,
I
I
want Rex.
want
I
Rex.
want
Yeah,
Rex
I want to hear what
explanation
Rex
because
has to
I
say.
got the face like. Go ahead.
Rex,
I need you to chime in.
Go.
You sound like you look like you want to say something.
I mean, he said something. It's like if you do a bad job, I mean, eventually, if you're not doing it the right way, she might end up going to look for it somewhere else. 'Cause, I mean, remember, it's
No, but you
technology.
wait a minute. There is a way. There is a oh my god moment, and that's when you effed up.
Every woman right now has at least 5 dudes in her DM, married or not, like in America.
Okay,
Like,
what's that got to do with anything?
I'm gonna say
if
no
you're,
because
if
I don't be checking my stuff. So I'm gonna
oh,
say it's empty. I'm gonna just throw
yeah,
You,
myself
you
out.
gotta go
okay, so
check
you do
then.
realize
I
there's a
get
caliber of men, right? There's a caliber of men. You got the dudes that's in the DMs, right?
what
And
kind
then
of
you got the
caliber
dude.
though?
I just said the guys, the men that are in DMs, they're a low caliber man.
And I'm
A
gonna tell
man
you
that's
up
in a
front, my
DM is low
Well,
attitude,
caliber as hell.
so
the
if,
people
if the
that's in my
man is
DM ain't gonna be the ones I'm attracted to. I'm sorry.
if the man
Sorry,
in the
That's
not
another
DM
thing.
has
sorry.
a
That
Rolls
ain't it.
Royce, is that low caliber?
I don't care if
Yes, because
okay,
it
so
don't matter
I
what
don't
he's got. He's in the DM.
correct.
So
Why is he
you're
in the
comparing
DM?
that to marriage, right?
No, I'm comparing that to just general
No,
men.
no, I'm comparing even if I wasn't married, if you're the guy that's in my DM and I feel like you're pursuing me more than I'm pursuing you or more than what I want from you, no.
You
Because
know
my
what,
personality is if I could walk over you or I feel like it's easy, I don't want it.
Rex? You know
That's
why,
not everybody though.
Rex? You
Correct.
know
And I'm
why,
not saying it's everybody. I'm saying
Right.
my personality.
Rex? You know why I can agree with Gary saying that that's a low quality man if they're
Okay.
in a person's DM. The reason why I could agree with that is because if you're a person that's driving a Rolls Royce, that means
Mhm.
that you should be doing well in life, or you have an appearance of doing well. So the women should actually be flaunting to you
Wait,
So
but
because you seem like you got it together.
how is that an indication of him not doing well if he's hollering at her though? Like if he just came across our page like, wow, this is the most amazing like looking woman I've ever seen, and he just messes her because he'll never see her again. How's
Because
that?
I have a
because
Rolls Royce. I have the
because when
ability
you
to track this woman
but
down. I am not going to be in her
I mean,
DM.
but I
yes,
think
But how? Without it being creepy, like you just went through this and tracked me down to meet me in person instead of hitting me up. Like
because
that's not
the
weird.
way it
No,
appears is if you're a person that have money like that, the women should be flocking to you, where you shouldn't even have
but
to
see,
go.
But
But
to
that's
be
old
honest,
school
that is
thinking. I'm talking about now.
yeah.
Nowadays is
I
different
mean,
now.
I'm just saying. I think you guys are thinking about it like guys. You're thinking about it
Hmm.
like men, where women are
Okay,
thinking about it like women. Like
okay,
especially
yeah,
if the
I'm thinking about it
marriage
like a
or
man.
whatever
I see
relate.
how. You have
But
to
then
understand. I have
she's
been
not
in
thinking about
DML.
it like that.
But
Well, and
I
that's the
have been.
thing though. For think about it. The question is really for me, not to cut you off, Gary, but it's if somebody's going to be
Well,
in my if somebody's going to be in my DM. If you're going to be in my DM, you have to decide what kind of person that is. I'm not a person who pays attention to those messages. So
Okay.
for me, you would not have gotten a response from me, even if I wasn't married, because
Okay.
that's not my lifestyle.
So,
Now, if you would have ran into me in the supermarket,
Mhm.
you might have got a conversation out of me because I'm old enough to know my life is not online. Like, am I online because this is what
yeah,
we do?
yeah.
Yes. You have to think about it. I'm almost 40 years old. When you got an almost 40-year-old, if she got time to be online, that means either she ain't got no kids or the kids is grown. Because if you got kids, you're not spending your life online because in my
Now,
head,
Right.
I'm
Yeah. So
calculating I got to go to soccer, I got to go swimming, I got to go to gymnastics, I got to go pick up from school. I'm not thinking about let me check my DMs if
Yeah, I
I got
think you're the
all
now,
of
wrong
that
woman
stuff
to be
going
talking
on.
about. You
yeah,
got
now,
way too
yeah,
much
I
issue
mean,
be going through.
because
I can't
maybe I
like
need
yeah,
to
you got
contextualize
way
this a
too
little bit
much
because
more.
stuff going on.
here's the thing. Because here's the thing. If from speaking from a guy's perspective, if I got a Rose voice and I'm in chicks DMs, that means that like that's almost like a predator type of mentality or whatever, where I'm using this as a means to like attract a woman because I know my materialistic things is what's going to attract this woman that I don't know from a can of paint into my circle. So me being if I'm actually taking the time to DM chicks and making the first thing that they see is my Rose voice, that shows that I'm a man of low quality. I shouldn't need to entice you with the materialistic thing. Now, it's a difference if I'm driving in my Rolls Royce down the street and women are coming to me,
Mhm.
then yeah. But if you're literally going to them and preying on women online and on their DMs, and the first thing you want to show is, oh, I got all these materialistic things, whatever, then yeah, that shows that from one man to another, that shows that that man is low quality,
But see,
in my opinion.
I think I'm trying to like work within that little boxer context that this is a relationship that is what kind of on the rocks already, and even
Hmm.
now the sex is lacking. So I mean, it depends on the woman itself. Like thinking about it from, I'm not a woman, but I
Okay.
mean, I am bi, so I'm thinking
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
okay, if a guy slides in my DMs, I'm with a dude and the sex is already lame and there's other issues in the relationship that are just not working themselves out.
So at
I might
what
be more
point do you label
inclined.
yourself a slut? Because that's the thing I will see you as.
Yeah.
Well, why should it matter if like you perceive me as a slut or not?
No,
But
no,
Like,
no,
see
no,
why
that
not
should then?
you
no,
in
no, no.
I
general.
know
I'm
not
talking
me.
about
I'm putting
the
myself
the
in
the,
that
the
hot seat.
scenario that you just gave. The
Right.
woman is saying you're saying that the woman is like she's with a guy, the sex is lame, and now she's in her DMs looking for better sex.
But see, you
Well,
have to
not
think
just
about it.
better sex, but maybe she wants to do it with a nicer car. Maybe she wants just a ride in the Rolls Royce.
But
A
see,
slut.
that's the difference though. He's calling it a
I call it
slut,
what
but I
you want.
got you one better. There are more
Okay.
women
Gold
that
digger?
are in relationships who have never orgasmed than there are men.
Oh, oh, that's a big one.
So
Okay, I'm
be-
bowing out of this one. I'm
That's a
done.
no,
big
but
one. Yeah.
this is what this is what I was gonna say though. So think about it. You think of men's mental health, right? A
Yeah.
lot of times women are with these men because they look good on paper. They may lack in other things. So you have
Mhm.
women that are calculated enough to do that. You also have women enough to go, hey, this ain't gonna work because I expect this, and this, because like y'all said earlier, people are engaging before marriage. So now they already know what to expect when they're in a relationship with somebody.
Erica,
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
that hurts. See, that hurts guys' mental health, right? Because what she's saying is a woman will leave you if the sex ain't right, right?
No,
So
I'm not saying that.
no. I'm just
Let them
saying
finish.
I
Let them
am.
between
Okay.
finish.
Rex,
Sorry.
between Rex and you, it sounds like a woman may leave you because the sex isn't what she wants because she can't orgasm. And from what I'm hearing, every woman is different. So for you to
Yeah.
find to make her orgasm, you may never be able to do it for
I
some women.
mean,
So
y-
now you may give her all your love. You may love her, where you gave her all your secrets. And now because the sex ain't good, she's just looking at her
She
DM.
out. She's
That's
skedaddled.
I
yo,
mean,
that will
some
break a
women.
man down. I'm talking about
Yeah.
break him down to
Yeah.
the lowest. And that's why some men they don't even want to show you love. Why? Because it may lead to something like that. So I'd rather be the one that's standoffish just in case it's something
You don't
like
want to
that.
get too close to the sun like Icarus.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I
So
follow
she
that.
may burn you.
And
And
that
it's like,
But that's the reality of being in a relationship,
That's a
though.
risk.
It is
There's
Yeah.
always going to be a risk, and you
yeah.
have to know if you're willing to take those risks. That's why when people, aka men, choose marriage, they're basing it off of certain things that they feel in that relationship. But they also have to figure out if this person is going to be their end all be all. Think about the divorce rate. The divorce rate is higher on the women's end initiating it than the men's, because on their end, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I took the time, I took the effort. This is what we going to do. And then you could, at the end of the day, she could go, hey, I appreciate what you did, but it's not always a, hey, this woman wants more. It's,
Let,
are you listening to me?
let
Did
me
you
ask you. Let
did
me
you
ask you
realize
something,
what was
Erica
going
P.
on?
Let me ask you, Erica P. Do you think that women nowadays view marriage as the finish line or the actual beginning of the race?
This is the kicker. I hear that on both sides
That's
from
a
women.
great
I
question.
have people that say the end goal is to be married. But then you also have some people go, I want to be married, but then they don't know what that marriage is going to entail. You were not brought up in the, let's say you have people who weren't brought up in that married lifestyle. So you didn't see mom and dad trying to figure it out together. So now it's, I want better than my parents if they were not married. Now you get into it, but if you're going into marriage thinking it's going to be hunky dory, it's not the case, because marriage is work. It is going to be the hardest job for some people
I am
at
so
different
glad
times
you
of
used the
life.
word job because that's exactly what it is.
Well, because in my head, I see marriage as a job. This is something that you have to put time
You know, it's
and
crazy
effort and
because a
work
lot of
into
people,
it.
a lot of people get offended where they're like, "Oh, it's not a job, it's love," and and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like,
Bullshit.
it's a job.
But what
Nah,
happens
that
when
could,
the
No, it's
love isn't
but that
enough?
still could be
What
love though.
happens when I look at
no,
your
no.
face
Love is
today and I can't
involved,
stand you? Like,
obviously.
Yes.
you have to
Love is
look at that
involved,
stuff too.
obviously. But when I can't stand you, when
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
look, when you rolling your eyes at me and I'm rolling my eyes back at you, right?
Mm.
My wife still serves me my plate. I still pay the bills. I still take care of the kids. I still do what I'm supposed to do. I still do what I'm supposed to do for her. Even though she's a piece of shit to me right now and I'm a dumbass to her, we take care of each other because just because we have a disagreement, we know that disagreement is going to go away.
Correct.
We're going to get over ourselves. We're going to look. I'm going to look her in the eye. I'm going to do the little puppy good dog thing that always work. And she's going to look at me and she's like, you get on my nerve. And I'm like, I know I suck.
And
You
then what
know, and
happens? And
yes,
then
you
what
suck.
happens after that? Keep going.
Amazing sex.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you
See,
look at the,
Every
or you look at the
I
greater
like,
good of that relationship and
uh,
be like, all right, well, we here for these kids too. The kids still need both of us to do what we gotta do.
Yeah,
So
the
that's what you
kids
have to look at
really
too.
the
yeah,
reason why we ever get back to
No, I'm not saying
and
the kids are
yes.
not that, but the thing is, each parent in that house has a role. So when you're in that marriage, and guess what? I tell people it's
oh
not
my
always
God, angry
50-50. It
sex is the
might be,
shit, boy. Oh
angry
my
sex,
God, I
ladies
See,
and
get
I
damn
gentlemen.
nerve. I
I
can't
like
It
stand
comes
you.
back down to the facts.
I like Keo Mary's comment. Love
Mhm.
isn't enough.
It is not
correct,
Yeah,
enough.
because
No, it
yeah.
sometimes
is
it's
not.
not.
Not enough.
Because what happens when you're right, when we don't like each other today, but you still
Angry
gonna lay
sex.
your butt over here and throw your leg on top of my leg so I can go to sleep.
Toes
So
curling.
Yes, because I need those cold toes. Give me some. I need some.
Co-
Don't give
Correct.
me the
So
damn.
that, like,
Come
those are
on
the
now.
extra things. It's like people don't realize I can't go to sleep if you ain't put your hot body on the side of mine. Like,
Listen, I've been sleeping in the body. I've been sleeping beside my wife for the last 20 freaking years. If she ain't touching me, I have a problem.
but those are things when you start looking at people who go into marriage for different things, they don't look at that stuff. Then it's like, oh, year two, this is annoying now. It was cute in the beginning. It's
So
like,
then,
no, these
so
are
then,
things you started doing. Don't start changing up because then I'm gonna be looking at you like,
so in
what,
other
what you doing?
words, you believe that people look at marriage as the end game instead of it being just the beginning.
For me, marriage is the end game. You got into this relationship,
No,
y'all
but what I'm
went
saying
through the
is,
process.
when people get to the point of marriage, they think, okay, that's it. My life accomplishment is done. Now I can
Yeah,
coast.
they start letting
They
their hair
start
down.
coasting. What
They
I'm,
don't work
yes.
out. They don't take care of themselves. They don't do what they're supposed to do. And that's where the relationship begins to break down because now the man is going through mental issues because he's like, damn, this girl's becoming a cow.
see,
And
wait,
now I feel like,
Gare.
you know what I mean? Like they did that on, like I was baited and switched on, you know what I mean?
But what if
So
that's how you got her though? What if she wasn't the gym? You knew she wasn't a gym rat when you got her. You thought she
I'm
was.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
Did you see my wife? Wait a minute.
no,
Pause. Hold
no.
on.
Your wife is different. Your wife is
No,
different.
no, my wife is not different. My wife is exactly what I picked. Okay, that is
Correct.
not different.
Correct. But
I,
that's
I
what. but you have some people who don't choose that either. They choose the opposite. They get into it and they be like,
No,
well, I'm being
but see,
fit now.
I
I need you
have.
to be
Hold
fit.
on,
What if I don't want to be fit with
hold on.
you?
I have a 15-pound allowance. Okay, 15-pound allowance, unless it's a medical issue. 15-pound allowance.
For
If
you?
you if for my wife, if you got with me and you was 120 pounds, I will allow you to get to 135, maybe 140. But when you start going 155, 160, hey, babe, no more junk food. That's it. No more junk food. We're not doing that. What?
See,
She looked at
but
me
think
like
about it.
she lost. When
But
I
that's
had
your
that conversation with
preference,
Toya,
though.
she lost. She was looking at me like I had 14 heads. I said, babe, I'm not attracted to fat women. I'm telling you, I'm not attracted. You can keep eating the potato chips, but I'm not attracted to that.
And
So
you had to tell
just
her.
let you know. I
And that's
made
what I
it
was gonna
perfectly
say.
clear.
You know your spouse because
Yeah,
you
I
know
tell her.
your spouse. You knew what that conversation had to be because you knew what your preference was.
See,
That's
Yes.
the
I
difference.
think
You
I
have to know that person to be able to tell them that.
I think we need more people like Gary's mentality where it's like you lay the law down and you're like, yo, this is what I want, this is what I expect, and like no filter whatsoever.
Shit.
Like I think we need more communication and understanding like that. Because being straightforward, it may hurt right then and there,
Yes,
but
but it keeps the relationship
it
alive.
keeps the
And
exactly,
Of
she
course.
knows she
exactly.
always looking good. That's a
And here's
bad
the
woman in
thing,
there.
and here's the thing. What she
So
eventually realizes, Gary wants the best for me. His the like what he's saying, he has the best interests for me long
Fact.
term, health wise,
so
and everything like that.
what
So I get it 100%. What was you about to
Let's go.
say,
Let's
June?
let Rex go because he didn't
Oh,
say
who
it
is
like
that?
hi
Rex.
hi
Rex is
hi.
about to say. Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead, Rex.
I mean, I was just gonna ask because it's just going back to the communication because that's what the young kids aren't getting. I think
Yes.
in that context, Wally, when you say we need more Garys, the little boys that are growing to men don't have what Gary had growing up. Like the lack of communication. What I'm trying to say is all those little facial expressions and practice like the tone of voice, facial expressions from person to person interactions, everything that, well, I think all of us got in like the 90s growing up when there was less technologies. These kids don't have now these days. They're going through these texts.
No, no,
They're
no. They
not
have
Well,
it.
talking face to
but
face.
you know
They're
what though?
choosing not to, or
Yeah,
the
because
parents are choosing not to
So
put
it's
those
just like
things in
because
play.
easier then.
because you know what? Even let's just say for the sake of argument, when if I'm at work and my coworker happened to be younger than me, like a 20-year-old or something, and he has no kids and everything, I'll sit down and be like, yo, this is what you want to do. Take your time. The girls will come. You got no kids, stay that way. Stack your
Mhm.
bread. Do what you
Yeah.
got to do. Like men are preaching other younger boys the basically the cheat code. They're preaching it to them, but it's up to
I'm
that
giving you the cheat code
individual. It's up to that
to listen.
individual to actually listen and apply it. But it's kind of hard for you to tell a young man who basically is building up his sexual market value, and then when he gets inside of the candy store, yo, you want to try every piece of candy. It's kind of hard for you to tell him you can only have one piece of candy and that's it.
But you're making a big mistake by telling him to have only one piece of candy,
Yeah.
maladjusted. I mean, you
Maladjusted.
just no, this is my boy. I've been thinking about my man. I'm
I'm
thinking
not
about
saying,
Mal.
I'm
I
not,
hope he's all
Yeah,
right.
he
no,
he
But
gonna
before you, I'm not saying to tell him that. I'm just saying like society will tell him, yo, don't go out there sleeping. You get what I'm saying? Like
I would
that's what
never
I'm
tell my
saying.
But
kids that. I
but
would tell my
no.
children.
But they're
I
still
would tell
gonna
my
do it.
children to go out. No, explore. And the reason why is because it just what Elrica was saying. There's a lot of women that cannot reach orgasm with certain men. Well, you should be a very well-to-do guy when it comes down to that. I'm not going to sit here and play this game like women don't like experienced men. They do. Okay, so that'd be a lie to play that game. So yes, I would tell my son, yeah, you might want to go out there and explore for several reasons. One, you need to see what women are really all about. You got to, okay? You got a lot of slimy, sketchy, snaky ass women out there, and they will manipulate the pants out of you. Understand, and this is something that Patrice O'Neill taught me. He says to me, he said, if I know what you want is the $1,000 that I got in my pocket, I'm gonna give you $2,000 to see what you do with it.
Mhm.
Because I want to know what you really want. That's a if you can just
But
grasp what I said to you as a man out here, what I just said to you, I just gave you the freaking game right there.
But
Keep your
see, that's
emotions
see,
out of it and say, here's 2,000 because I can easily replace that. What are you gonna do with it?
and that's what I was gonna
Are you a
say.
gold
That's
digger?
yeah.
Are you down for me? You know, stuff like that. Like it's so much you can learn by just giving
I
a
think I
woman what she
remember
thinks she
that one.
here,
wants.
But
here.
think about it though. If you're with a woman who sees a future with you, she gonna tell you how to start a business with that 2,000. She gonna tell you, hey, I don't
I don't
need you to
need you to
go.
do that. I already know how to start a business.
Well, no,
I
but
got
just
the 2,000 already. Why do I
correct.
need you to tell me that?
Thank
But what
you.
I'm saying is that's her test too, because if this is the woman that you want
I
to
don't
build,
care though. See,
mm-mm.
if I'm not
See,
trying, hold on. If wait a minute, if I'm doing my job correctly, stacking my bread, focusing on my future, so when I do get a future wife, she could come in and have the kids. I'm not interested in a woman that's business minded. I don't need her for that. I need her to be with the kids.
I get what you're saying, but you also want to see if she was that gold digger or not too. Did you
That's why I
use your
gave her the $2,000.
but that's what I'm saying. The test was, what did you do with your 2,000? If she said, "Hey, I spent $100 on a new pocketbook and I kept the other 1,900 in the pocketbook," I would rather that person than the person who said, "Well, I just spent 1,999 on a pocketbook and I kept $1."
I see
Because
what you're
guess
saying.
what?
Is
If
she a
she's
good
the
steward
person
over the
that you want,
money? There you
correct,
go.
because if she's the one that you want to raise the kids with, you got to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
she's going to be resourceful with her
Boom.
resources that you give her.
Boom.
Did
Yes,
she
I
go
like
out and
that.
say, "Hey, the kids need X, Y, and Z. You gave me this. I figured out how to get the kids X, Y, and Z and still be able to keep
Mm,
a couple of dollars to the side." Because
mm.
guess what? You don't know at the end of the day if you get hurt at work, or are you going to be able to continue the lifestyle that you have? She also still
Okay.
has to have some kind of skills to be able to step
Papa
up and
count.
go, "Hey, babe, by the way, you're disabled and this is your check monthly going forward. Hey, I still
Mhm.
have the means to be able to switch roles with you. I'm not saying that I want to, but I could switch roles with you to make sure we can still maintain this whole household. We
All
ain't
right,
gonna be
poppy collar,
homeless.
poppy collar.
We
You
ain't
can
gonna
poppy
be
collar.
able."
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying though. Like that's
Pop it.
for me,
Go right
that's the
there.
test.
Boop.
I get not most men want my mindset. They don't want the, "Hey, let's save and keep the money for a rainy day." Let's, because we don't know what the end goal is. But you also have to think about it. I think about life differently. My dad passed at 53. So I
Mm,
didn't have the dad who went to his 80s and 90s before he passed. So I think
mm,
about those things too. I want to live life to the fullest, but I'm also, like I said, I'm calculated. I'm risk averse sometimes. I want to make sure I can get to 80 or 90 if I can. But I also want to make sure the house is still paid for. I want to make sure the kids are still going to be able to be taken care of if something ever happens to me or dad. I still want things to get done and you still have those life experiences, because I don't want you to go without either. And I want to throw in those extra, "Hey, we went on vacation to here so the kids can experience something other than the same 12 blocks that they grew up on." I want that too. But I want my partner to want that with me, because guess what? If we're not on the same page, that family structure will never work. It
I have
doesn't matter if I got the people in my DMs or if I got the people in my ear. If y'all not on the same page, it'll never work. It don't matter how many times y'all was married or how many years, because like you said, at
Rex,
the
is
end of
that
the day,
wig
that
getting on
mental
your
health
nerve
work.
yet? Rex? Is that thing getting on your nerve yet?
Oh, it's been on my nerves for a very long time.
It's
I
getting on your
know
nerve.
it.
I'm just saying,
They
you
made
won't
fun.
look too well.
They
You won't
made
look
the
too right if you
bun
take it
tight
off
as
right
heck,
now. But
boy.
I'm just saying, if you would like to go ahead and put your
Nah,
bubble on and take it off and all that,
okay.
that we be good
not
with that.
happening.
But
Okay.
Nobody's
Yeah, because
staying.
but I'm looking at you, but that's why I
'cause
choose
that's your
not
fourth
to
time
do that either.
adjusting your freaking
I'm about
mic,
to
your
say
Yeah.
earphones. I'm
you
just
did
saying
that a
The
couple
headphones
times.
are tiring. The
with that
headphones
square
are
Yeah.
chin you got
tiring.
there.
Shoot, don't you see I'm doing this? Like
I got the
yeah.
type. See,
I,
I got
See,
those.
it's
They
And
not
that's
too
why
tight.
I
I
got
just
these.
stretched them out
You see
enough.
why I got these? I'm
Yeah,
smart. I got these.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
this
yeah,
don't bother me at all. I forgot. I forget they on. Look at that. Look.
yeah. I
I
got a
forget
He
they
feels
question.
on.
special right
I
now.
got
He
a
feels
question for
special.
you because Gary said something earlier that stood out to me. You know
I
how you
love
said
messing with you.
your children basically
Harry
keep you
Toe,
from
what's up?
no, yeah, Harry Toe. Shout out to
I
Harry
love
Toe.
his name,
Um,
Harry Toe.
So
I
bright.
have a earlier you said your kids keep you from jumping over the jumping over the ledge.
Yeah,
Do you
Oh man, so much
do you view that could be a gift and a curse when it comes to men's mental health? Because it's like, okay, your kids will keep you from jumping over the ledge, but at the same time, like, does it continue that male to or that individual to continue to live a life of suffering mentally, so to speak, like basically just prolonging that agony, so to speak.
I don't think I have time for that. I think that's a luxury. See, I wake up with demons every morning. I wake
Hmm.
up with them. I wake up, and ever since I was a little boy, because I've been traumatized when I was a kid. Afraid to go outside because I was jumped many times.
Hmm.
Afraid to be around certain people because I was molested. That's why my kids has never been. They've never slept outside of the. They've never slept over someone's house because I don't play that. If I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
there, no, because I got molested at my grandmother's house. So
Mm,
I don't do that. Um, so I wake up with that level of trauma all the time because going to school, getting jumped, and it's not pretty to wake up with that. So I have to encourage myself to go out and get in my car and put the car in drive every single day. It's a challenge. So when I get out that bed, when I put my pants on, it's time to be a man today. I don't have the luxury to think about that shit no more. All right.
mm.
So when I am stuck in that loop and I'm trying to get out, my kids get me out. So I no longer have that luxury. All right, cool. I can go out here in this world and still think about all the things that I want to do to myself, or I can go out in this world and make sure that my kids have a better world when I'm gone. I don't have a luxury to think about it anymore. So it's that's why a lot of people, my wife called me negative because she lives with me, but a lot of the people, most people that talk to me like, yo, Gary's a positive person because he's always trying to find another angle on how to make something work.
The silver lining,
Right.
pretty much.
Because that's the only thing I can survive off of. I
Hmm.
could not survive thinking like I think unless I
Yes,
had something to do. You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Like, if it wasn't for this YouTube channel, oh my God, it would have been over for me. But the reason why my YouTube channel is absolutely blowing the hell up is because I would not give up on it. I just refuse to give up on it, and that's been my saving grace for a long time. That's my artistic expression, right? that's
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
my that's my verbal. I have people saying what I want to say in a way that I couldn't say it, right, in another language, in another dialogue, whatever. So I use that with YouTube, and then I just make it look pretty. You know what I'm saying? That's all I
Yeah,
really do.
yeah, yeah.
But when my kids, when I go and I open that door to see my kids and they're sleeping, and David's like 6'12" now, looking like a freaking goddess. Well, not goddess, but God. You know what I'm saying? Because he got pretty hair and he looking all
Hmm.
cute with the doe eyes and stuff like that. And it pisses me off because I'm like, pretty mother. You know what I'm saying? Pretty Ricky is what they call him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at him and I'm like, and he wants to be a wrestler. So I'm like, damn, man, that's a lot of money. Costumes, you know what I'm saying? Workouts, supplements. I got to get this guy in shape, So I'm too busy trying to build something so he can become a wrestler, so Nate can be a freaking artist. Like, I used to say this years ago that my love is my prison because it keeps me doing things that I don't like doing. But now it's like my love is my paradise because I get to do what I want to do, which is make sure they get what they want. So, um, it's therapeutic to have kids. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it gives you something to do. It gives you something to focus on other than your damn self.
Correct.
You I live for them. I live for my wife. So yeah, my feet hurt, my legs hurt, my back hurt. And the only reason why I'm pissed off is because the money that I work, the reason why I'm broken down is because of the work that I did, and that money is
Hmm.
gone. That
Yeah.
labor is gone. I can never get that labor back. Right?
Yes.
That's why I'm pissed off, but not because I did it for them. That's not why I'm angry. I'm angry because I did all that and I still had to build something from scratch. I might as well
Yeah.
did that shit when I was 20. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So instead of going to
Yes.
work for somebody. So that's what I'm
Yes.
irritated about. So I think because I was doing the wrong things for the right reasons is why I became bitter
Yeah.
over the years. But that has nothing to do with them. Yeah, they was the ones that got lashed out at. That's the reason why they look at me like, is this a good day for my father? Mr. Wiley, sir, your
Yeah.
day is reason why. That's the reason why they go to their mother, because you know, not pro. But I don't look at my kids like that as far as a burden per se. The work that I had to do was, but they're not a burden. They are therapeutic to me. They give me life. You know, I'll probably kick around longer than I ever would have just so I can see them live the life that I want to see them live. So hopefully that
Yeah.
answered your question.
And you know what too? Like kids are a perfect distraction too.
Yes, they are.
They're like, yo, because you could have like drama and animosity going on in the house or whatever between the two
Yes.
parents, but the kids are
Yes.
like the perfect distraction. And next thing you know, it's like, all right, what we was arguing about, we could resolve it. Like, you know what I mean?
Like
Like,
it don't even
puts you,
matter no
yeah,
more.
it
It's
puts
like,
you in a better mood, so to speak. But yeah,
My
June, I was gonna ask
go
June, but
ahead, go
go
ahead, go
ahead,
ahead,
go
go ahead.
ahead. June, what's your take on it? Do you think like kids are therapeutic? Like basically what I asked Gary, Gary, do it like keep a man from going over the edge, or
I think it depends on the mindset of, like, are you saying from a man's perspective, or
yes, yes, from a man's perspective.
I would think it depends on the man, because some men don't want to improve at life, and when you have children, when you include children into your life, you have to, everything got to improve. Your patience, your, the way you speak to people, everything you do have to be improved. So some men don't like that. Some men want to stay where they're at. They don't want any interruptions. So I would say kids are therapeutic for people who really want to do, I don't want to say do good, I don't even know how to put it
Yeah,
into
yeah.
words, but kids, to me, the most therapeutic thing ever. Even after frustration, and I just sit back and I reflect, a smile just come on my face where it's, I couldn't harbor. It's like it just evaporate, and it's just
Hmm.
love, immediate love, where my heart just feels sad. And if I'm on YouTube and I see like a video of a child, I'm now thinking of my child in the moment, and I'm just smiling and feeling
Yeah,
all
yeah,
emotional. And
yeah,
I'm like, yeah. So I think for I would say for me, kids are
yeah.
therapeutic.
Now, Rex, I know you don't have kids or anything like that, but do you think it would be therapeutic for having a child around?
I think in that context, the word that keeps popping up into my head, which I think kind of for men's and their mental health, it
Hmm.
gives men purpose. Like the end
There it
result is
is.
give you purpose to keep
There
going.
it
Much like
is.
Gary said,
Bro, that's the word that I was trying to get.
There
I
it
said
is.
1,003 words, and
Yes.
you
There
said
it
purpose,
is.
man. Yes,
Yeah, that's why I said
yes.
there it is.
"You're welcome, Gary."
Round of applause on that one.
Yeah,
The damn
I was
tranny
waiting
had
for
to
him
say
to
the
say
right
it
word.
too.
I'm pissed about it.
I was like, this sums it up perfectly. It gives you
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
purpose you need
yeah.
just to keep going. Because I
Well
mean, then
said.
I think it's like you're thinking about in your head. You're gonna see like your son graduate. You're gonna see them get married, and then you're gonna see your grandkids. I mean, I guess that's where. I mean, I had my dad asking me, "It's like when you gonna get some grandkids?" And now he's looking at me dressed up in the kitchen like this motherfucker. He
Right.
can't get.
but you know
He
what?
ain't going.
But think about it though. He's probably having a different conversation with you. All right. So when you bringing somebody home, when am I going to see the next step in your life? Because think
Yeah,
about it. You get a different set of questions now. And
yeah,
I'm not saying this to be malicious, but it's what are the appropriate questions to ask you at this point? Because you said that you like both. So then it's like, okay, well, what if you had a partner who wanted a kid, would you be open to that too? Or what if you found a partner who has a kid?
I mean, I
That's a good
wouldn't
question.
date somebody. I wouldn't get with somebody that has a kid already because then
Hmm.
there's just nothing left for me
Yeah.
and there's
Okay.
nothing to build on at that point. Like if I'm approaching a woman, especially, like I've already excommunicated myself from a whole market of women that
Okay.
don't want to be with me. And even in the bisexual realm, like bisexuals aren't really looking for other bisexuals like me. Because it's like if you think about it, a bisexual is just attracted to a male and female. But
Okay.
if I'm
Yeah.
going the trans route, that really doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not really kicking off there either. But I'd say, yeah, I mean, I'm an enigma. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna enjoy the ride while it lasts.
I
Well,
gotta ask. I gotta ask Rex. Do you prefer men or women when it comes to dating?
I preferred women at first, but then they
Hmm.
drove me crazy, and then
Mm.
I started just kind of giving up
Welcome
after
to
a
the club,
while, and
bro.
I'm just like, I might try men. Maybe they'll treat
Okay.
me a little better.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
Now let me ask Rex something. Rex, let's say you have a child, and well, somebody was asking you for advice. They have a child, and the child is thinking of messing with the same sex, right? Now, that father or mother do not want the child to go that route. What would you advise that parent to do to like not really damage the child as far as
Good
leading them
question.
to
Good
self harm?
question.
In terms of like preventing the child from going like sexual
No,
experimentation, like dating
just
the
what
same sex.
advice would you give? Period. Just what advice would you give? How would they handle it? Because you have to handle it with kitty gloves. Like, how do they handle not even trying to turn or tell the kid you are not that? Like, how would they handle it? How would they even initiate the conversation? Like,
What's up,
how would
Crispy?
I don't know, I think could you rephrase that in a way like if the
Yeah,
child
I'm
is
struggling with the
experiencing like
answer to the
same sex
question too.
attraction?
let's say my son came to me and he's saying he's attracted to the same sex, right? Let's say
Mhm.
I am a parent that's like Al Bundy, and I just want to say, oh, I am against that. But I know, that can crush that kid's soul, spirit, whatever. How would you advise I handle it if I am that parent that do not agree with that?
Man, that's a
I now
loaded
understand that
question.
question. It's
Yeah.
not loaded. I
I
get
mean,
what
it's
you're
loaded for
saying,
me.
but yeah, it's okay. So what he's trying to ask you is this: if you was advising me as a parent dealing with a child that's possibly bisexual or gay, how should I approach the child? Or in other words, how would you have liked to be an approach if you were that child?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm caught in the middle there. I would say, I mean, that's gonna take a whole lot of strength from the kid to actually even open up to a father about that. Because I mean, especially a son to a father, that's a whole different line. They would have to be so safe and secure with their father. Like I know me, I was going ape shit when I was worried about telling my dad about me. I didn't know what to do. I mean, then there's that whole
Which is why
aspect
you're the
of being a
perfect
man
person to
and
ask this question to.
Yeah.
Correct.
I know at first my dad wasn't really accepting of it. He pretended like he was, but I know he really wasn't happy about it. And then he
So
kind of just grew on to it.
so let me ask you this, right? Would you have preferred, instead of him acting like he was okay with it, would you would have preferred if he just kept it real, or you were like him pretending that he was okay with it was more detrimental? You get what I'm saying? So which one would you have preferred? His real reaction or the fantasy of him saying, I accept it?
I think at some point in reality, like a son to a father knows if they're really accepting or not. Like even a lie, like I already knew, like I said, I already knew he wasn't totally accepting. But when I was a kid, he told me, for whatever reason, he told me, oh, if I was gay, he would love me more. So it's like
Mm,
there was some mixed messaging,
No,
even though
huh?
it's
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
anecdotal.
But you
Because I
got to
mean,
think about it as a parent, though, right? You know, if this is the choice that your child is making, it may be a little bit harder for them. As a parent, your job is to protect your child. So if my job is to protect you, and this is something that I'm not going to be able to protect you from, I'm gonna have to tell you I will love you even more because you have to hear that.
Yeah.
Because if everybody else is telling you this is not right, if that their mindset is this is not right or this is not the norm, I still have to protect you as your parent.
But do you want to hear that as the child though?
Yeah. Do
It
you
Yes,
want
doesn't
to hear?
matter.
absolutely.
I was about to
No,
say
it
it
does
doesn't
matter.
matter
No,
if
I
no,
do.
no, I'm not saying
No,
for Rex. What I was
but
gonna say
Rex
is
is
it
saying
doesn't
Rex
matter
is
what the parent thinks or not. Your job is to be the safe space for your child.
no,
It
Mm.
Go ahead.
but Rex, you said that did matter to you, right?
Yeah. I mean,
See?
if I wasn't as self-aware or in tuned with him, I definitely would have wanted the support still. Like because the weight of that was already crushing on its
Yeah,
own. To have my
yeah.
father crush it even further would have been detrimental.
Okay.
It would have
Hmm.
totally jacked me up as a kid. I mean, you have these kids that go so far as to take their own lives because they're
Yes,
so
yes,
stuck in the closet and then there's nowhere
yes.
else to go. And so
See,
that's I mean, go ahead.
I had this conversation with my sons, um, because I've had multiple gay friends, and I had this conversation with my kids, and I explained it. I said, first of all, I started off with joking. You gay? You like boys? Are you gay? No, I'm not gay. I'm like, because if you gay, I'll still love you, but I'm a clown the hell out you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a clown you. You know,
Yeah,
get your gay ass away from me. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, don't no, you can't hug, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I will clown you. And I just made it light as best as I could, right? Because I'm not gonna disown my kids because they chose to be whatever. That's their life. But that was the only way that I knew how to handle it. Like, I
And you know,
wouldn't have, because I was terrified. I didn't tell my mother or my father that I was molested. I didn't tell them that. Why would I ever do that? First of all, my father would go to jail, and then my mother would go to jail. So I couldn't tell them. I knew
hmm
what would have happened to those people if I were told. So I didn't say anything. Plus, I was confused because it felt amazing. I was lost. Like what the hell? I wanted more, and I was told that was a bad touch. So I'm putting bad and good, and it just don't make any damn sense at to an
hmm
8-year old. I'm like, how am I supposed to, you know, deal with that? So
Navigate that.
when I had this conversation with my kids, and it was like, 13, 12, 13 years old, where they're at the age where I think they can handle it. I just made it goofy and just saying, I'm not gay, dad. I'm like, do you think he's cute? No, no. Do you think he's cute? Stuff like that.
hmm
And, it's just, I don't know. I hope it worked. I hope it worked, but that's how I did it with my kids to let them know that I love them anyway. I'm going to clown you because I clown you about everything. It's just what I do. But that's how I did it. I don't know any other way to do it but to make it
I mean,
light.
I think it's like 50-50 because I mean, he could be taking it as a joke, but then you could be metaphorically like putting dents in that armor. If your son had any proclivities of being gay, it could be tearing off chinks of that armor because I mean, humor is a great way to like a defense mechanism at the same
Well,
point.
that's all I use. That's how
hmm
I use our
hmm
humor. I use it as a defense mechanism.
Yeah,
Instead
but
of to make light of something, open it up, and then we can actually react. Because we had real conversations about it, serious conversations later
okay.
on in his life, of their lives. But I, the way I started it was humor.
Because a lot of
The
times
same way I do with you. Like the
you gotta
whole,
start it.
is that wig bothering you? I'm just bringing light
And
to
you
the situation.
you know what it is, because I can relate to that, Gary. It's more so since it's like uncharted territories. The only way you feel you can actually present it without actually affecting the child is bringing humor into it, so to speak, because that's uncharted territories for a lot of people. And the way I deal or cope with a lot of things is I bring humor into the equation, because that's more of like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a comfort zone for me.
But
So
that humor may offend me and affect me as a child though, because hearing the way he was saying it,
yeah,
I'm like,
but
if it
here's the thing. But if that's
Yeah,
the
but he
connection,
knows.
but
Like I've been like this. See, that's
yes,
the
that's
thing.
what I'm saying. If you have that connection
This
with the
is how I
child,
normally am. Like
yes,
this is the connection I have with my kids. So it's not like
I dig it.
Dad,
yeah,
boy,
yeah,
like that's how we
yeah.
are. So it's not.
I
Because
dig
my kid right
It's
now
not
will
out of left
always
field,
say,
basically.
"Yep." My kid right now will always say, "Yo, Dad is funny. He's hilarious." So with that being the way like we communicate,
Wait, I
it'll
can't
be
say that. I have family members. That's how they always been, but it just hit different. Like I can't. Even though that may be how you were the whole time I knew you, it still may affect me in this situation because I don't need to hear this. I need you to hug me and tell me everything's okay. You're not because I may feel like a dirtbag. I
Yeah.
may feel like what is happening to me, and your jokes may not be something I am relating to right now. So, it,
Well, but that's the issue
no,
though.
I'm just
Every
saying. Bro.
You got to
No, no,
think
no.
about
You're
it as a
right, but it's
parent.
like, how am I? Yes, as a parent, how can I? What other way can I bring this
yes,
conversation to you?
That's
Because
Correct.
it's
why.
not like I want to talk to you about it because I know sooner or later it's going to hit you, whether it's in school, whether it's out in the world. You're going to come across this, and I don't know how to present it to you. Like nobody presented gay to me; they just did it to me, right? So it's like I didn't know what. So how do I present to a sheltered child this new form of life?
Well, that's good. I think that's where it's incumbent on the kid. The kid is gonna come out on their own time. And
hmm
if it's that emotion is that strong where there is something going on, only time will tell. It's only a matter of
Mhm.
time. I mean, that was my experience. Like my first thought of like same sex attraction to other men came rather early, maybe in my early teens. Like I think I was like maybe 16 when I
hmm
first like started realizing it or becoming self-aware. And I didn't tell anybody for years.
Right.
Well,
See,
see,
this is what let me just to say this real quick, Erica, and then you can have the floor is yours. This is what I will say. The case that you're saying, June, I understand in your sense of what you're saying. That might not be something you want to hear, but in Gary's sense, he had a conversation before anything. This was just a conversation that he had with his child saying, are you gay, whatever, just like crossing the boundaries. I'm pretty sure if it was a case where the child literally said, "Yo, Dad, is something I have to tell you. Hey, I'm attracted to the same sex, whatever." It would be completely different.
One
But that's
thousand
not
percent
what
different.
happened
Yeah.
here. This was a case of him just laying it out to his child. Yo, we can have this conversation,
But
so
let
to
me just
speak,
say
and I'm
this.
not gonna think any
And
differently
and
of
here's
you.
how I did it. I literally busted in the room and said, "Are you gay? Are you gay?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Because if you
This
gay, I
is
will still love you, but
terrible.
I will mess with you, I will call you, or I'm like, put your tutu on, some goofy stuff,
So if I was gay,
just."
I would say
Yeah,
yep in
so
that
horrible.
moment that you just kicked in my
well, see,
door.
that's the thing though.
But
You
that's
don't
the point. It's not
being
about
the
being.
parent. It's not about getting that answer. A lot of times,
There
I
it's
you
was
go.
about
getting the
having the
answer.
conversation
It's
open.
Yes,
opening it
yes,
up. It's not. I don't want you to
Even if
at
that
that moment.
conversation hurts me coming to you, feeling comfortable, even if it
But
can
see,
cause
that's
that.
the thing though. He knows his kids. If he
yes. You
knows
can't.
humor is what's going to get the conversation started, then that's what you do. I'm not a jokey person. The kids will tell you, I'm not the fun parent. I'm not.
Exactly.
But I'm open to whatever you need to talk about because I'm neutral when it comes to y'all getting stuff off your chest.
See, I
I
see
need
you
the
Mhm.
kids to
joking, but I don't
well,
see
that's what
that.
I said. For me, I'm not coming out there joking, but I am gonna have a
Okay, so
conversation.
there was a situation. Wait a minute, hold on. I gotta say this. Okay, there was a situation where my son gave me a hug, and we touched, and I was like, "Hug over." He was like, "Yup."
And y'all both understood. See, that's the thing. That's something I'm not going to know.
Yo,
But
it
y'all
was
understood
crazy.
what that was.
Oh my
And
god.
y'all knew we couldn't do this. We just back away. We are
Yep.
not touching each other. Gotta go.
That's it. I'm done.
See,
We
I've
we
I've
we shake
never
from now on. That's there.
I've
No more of
never
that.
had that experience hugging any guy. Like I never had that. It never.
But I
Like
had it
yeah.
with my
Got to
son,
make sure there's
dog.
some
Like
space
we're done.
there.
So
Yo,
awkward.
yo, bruh. It was like, damn, for real. Like that was crazy. Like, wow.
Well, I had a to go with feeling weird, I had a boss. I was in the office with him, and I was younger, so I was a lot more immature. He got a call hit from his twin brother. His mother just died, and this
Mm.
guy started crying in the office. And at this point, I didn't cry yet at my sister's wedding. So for me, he's crying, and then he came on my shoulders and started crying. I was like, "What is happening right now?" But I was
You
like,
hold him. You
but I was
hold
no,
him
that's the thing. I
hard.
was like, "Yo, his mom just died," and I was like, "What if that
Yes.
was your mother?" And then I was
Yeah.
like, and he just kept crying,
Right.
and I was like, and
Yeah.
I
You
understood
console
he
him. You don't.
needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't
empathy.
reject that. Because
But in
But
the moment, I
yo,
didn't.
I'm
In the
tearing
moment,
up
it was
thinking
like,
about it myself, man. Like
but
Yeah.
see,
But you
you.
this
got
is
to think about it
this is
though.
how.
What happens if you've never had that experience? Sometimes people don't know what to do.
See, this is
That's
how.
another
Yep.
thing.
This is how
Yeah. See, I
ignorant I
lost my
am. Because
dad
I,
when I was 16. So
yeah.
yeah, that parent. Yeah,
yeah,
that'd hit.
See, this how
That'd hit.
ignorant I was. Because there was times where I went with friends to funerals and stuff, and these are male friends, and they would shed tears and stuff, and in my head, I'm like, yo, I don't know what to say to this person. I don't know what to, and I looked at it weird because at
See,
that point, I didn't look. I like mental health was never a conversation or a thought process in my head. So in my head, I'm like, dude, you got to be tough. Like you stop crying or whatever. This is what I'm saying in my head, but I'm still like, everything's gonna be okay, whatever. But I'm like, dude, we're men. We're supposed to be tough. We're not supposed to show no tears or anything like that. Now
So let me
that
ask
I'm,
you a question.
uh-huh.
Oh, okay. You go another. I'm sorry. I thought you was gonna.
No, no,
You was done with
no.
that.
Go ahead, go ahead. Because all I was
No.
gonna say is now that I'm more educated on it, I'm like, yo, that was a real dude actually like showing his feelings on the matter. And it's like I'm looking back like, damn, I was a douche.
that's how
Like
you
I was
approach
a
it,
Yes.
dirtbag.
though.
I could have probably
Yes.
handled this a lot better because I
Hmm.
wasn't educated on it. So just think about men that a lot of men who don't even, well, now I'm assuming mental health is now like it's more aware
The
in our
forefront.
communities. But just think about the men
yeah.
who still have that mentality where they're like, yo, I'm supposed to be tough all the time. How
Well,
much of
See,
a
we're gonna
toll
have to
that it
do this.
takes on them.
I think we're gonna have
so
to bring this a third time because
Okay.
there's so much more to it
Yes.
than just the. This is like we're just covering the surface of this, right?
Hmm.
Because what
Hmm.
you're saying to me, maladjusted. What you're saying to me, what you're saying to me, Wally, is what you're bringing up so much stuff when it comes down to men's mental health. So many men are not only suffering in silence, they're suffering alone because of men that thought like you at one point, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, what are you crying for? You're a big pussy
Yes.
for crying.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
it's like now I can't even let this anger go. I can't even let it go. So I gotta hold on to this
Yes.
because if I let it go, and what happens? What happens? The cop pulls you over. What you pull me over for?
Yep.
Because I'm
Mhm.
angry.
That's
Hmm.
how we're
I'm
programmed.
furious. I can't let it go. You
Yep.
go to the gym and you go to the gym, you get all these muscles and all. I call them show muscles. You get
Yeah.
all these muscles just so you can look like
so
you this big aggressive man because everybody telling you this is the only thing you can be in the world is this big aggressive dude.
so I
Yes.
And
did
then you
want to.
wonder why you got so many men doing crazy stuff out here.
Yeah. Rex, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, Rex.
No, I was just like the chat caught my eye for a second. In reference to what Aaron Wyatt was
Yeah.
saying like homosexuality is wrong, and I think for his perspective, I suppose that is some consideration because he did remind me of actually a young guy who is questioning himself that is talking to me through a different social media site. So this he's like 20 something years old. He's having these confused thoughts of is he gay? Because he's telling me he's like he's attracted to trans women and he's confiding in me and he is scared to death that his father won't accept him because he is such a hardcore religious person. And he even said to his son, that's why I'm trying to keep this as non-identifying as possible. But I think his father told him something to the effect of there's not going to be any F slurs in this house. So when you get to that level, and now I have a young kid coming to me about it, and like this is just a kid who was, I guess, confided in me to that level, and it feels so weird to me. It's like I barely even know how to react to that because I already feel kind of sort of not, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but I don't want to be the cause of something to go wrong or to be even worse.
Hmm.
So I mean,
Hmm.
like parents really have to walk that fine line with, I guess, in context and homosexuality, keeping it separate from all this gender craziness of trans this and non-binary that. Because if it's like, sexuality and gender, these are two totally separate
Yes.
concepts. But when
Yes.
it comes to like, if your son is coming to you as, oh, I might be gay or bisexual or something is sexuality, that's different than like your son or daughter saying, hey, I might be trans or I might be non-binary. That's, I think those two separate things, like a different reaction. Because I mean, if an 8-year-old is coming to you saying, oh, I might be trans, well, I mean, you might have to get it, like suppose, a therapist, because then you're going into the gender non-conforming spectrum, which I mean could end up on the DSM-5. But then your son coming to you as, hey, I just might have a sexual attraction to other dudes, then that might not be something to require, a therapist for the DSM-5, so to speak.
The
Well,
only
see,
the only oh, go ahead, Erica. Go ahead.
so this, and maybe my mindset is a little warped on this aspect. I feel like at 8, and maybe some people know at 8, but I feel like at 8, that's not, I don't want no relationship talk being done. I don't need you to identify as anything at 8. I need you to be a kid.
Be a
So
kid.
I need you to get your studies, go play with some toys, because my mindset is I want you to be a kid as long as possible. You
But
got all of the rest of your life to be an adult.
Erica, let me play devil's advocate here though, all right? Because let's just say you have a son who say, "Yo, I feel like I should have been born a woman and everything like that. Hasn't gone through puberty yet." If this child wholeheartedly believe he should have been born a woman, wouldn't it be beneficial to that child to actually start transitioning before you hit puberty? So now he could actually compete in sports later down the line if he really want to like transition and become a woman. Now she legally can compete in sports and stuff like that because that takes away a lot of the advantages of transitioning after puberty. So I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If
No,
the
no.
son wholeheartedly like, yo, this is what you get what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you just say, you know what,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna,
God.
you get what I'm saying? Like,
That's an
I,
impossible question
I
for
get
any, like that's a
c-
how okay, you I know you asked that to Erica,
yeah.
but
I'm gonna give you
how
my answer. You gonna be mad because as the
What?
parent,
Wait, where's
I legally am responsible for you until you're 18. So
nah, but wait a
between
minute.
that,
Wait a minute. Wait a
and
minute.
matter of fact, I'm legally more responsible than that because people keep failing to realize if you're in college till you're 25, I still got to support you till you turn you 26. So
Mm.
in my head, you're still my child. I'm not going to say that I know what's best for you in that circumstance because I don't understand it. But what I will tell you is, as your mom, you can do whatever you want when you're the one fronting those bills. I
Even if this child is showing promise in like a sport, let's just say like soccer or something, they're showing
It
like
doesn't
elite skills.
for me, it doesn't matter
Okay.
because in my head, you could do whatever you
It seemed
want
like Gary
when
got something to say
I was
about
gonna say
this.
Gary is probably gonna say something because remember it was asked to me, so I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you my response, and it may, and I'm giving you the disclaimer, it may change. I'm only saying it at face value because I have not been positioned with that yet or presented with that yet. I
Okay.
can only think based off of right now. If my child says this, I have to have that logical conversation. I understand what you're saying. We're going to table this for now. You revisit it at another time frame.
Oh,
If
that's it.
you want if you want to have the conversation, yes, we will go through the process. I can tell we'll figure out what all needs to be done, but I'm also going to tell you I'm not fronting them bills right now. I will also tell you, I don't know if your mindset will change or not, but when you hit 18 and you have the means to do what you want to do, I can't fault you for that either. Because in my head, I don't want to do something as your parent at 12 or 14 and you decide at 22 my decision was wrong for
No,
you.
I get that, but what? So would you feel some type of way if that child, by the time they go to 18 and now they can't compete in women's sports and everything because they went through puberty and all that, would you feel some type of way if that child now builds a resentment against you for not acquiescing to what they was asking for, and even after they became 18 they still stood it with their conviction?
To be honest, I will have to take it because
Okay.
my job as the parent is to do what I feel is right for you at that time. I can only do what I feel like I'm doing to protect you.
Okay.
When it gets to you making your life choices, I will allow you to do that. But until you either get to 18 or 25 or you legally go fill out them papers to be emancipated, you going to have what you want at that time. I'm not jumping the gun, so to speak, beforehand.
Okay. Gary, you
Go
seem like you
ahead,
got a
Gary.
lot to say.
The Bible says that a man is a man at 13 years old. You do whatever
Okay.
you want.
But
You're
now my
13.
question,
13?
but my
That's
question,
what the Bible says. You're
correct.
you're you're
And the
you're
Bible is
you're you're
13.
you're you're you're
But
13.
legally at
So if you
13, he can't get a job. You can get a
that's
job
not
at
my
14.
problem. See, you
Yeah.
want to transition, right? You're a
Correct.
man. Do what you want to do. There's a shovel somewhere around here. Go get to work. I can't. I'm not about to be responsible for that decision at all.
I can't make it for you.
I
And that's
can't
the
make you.
problem.
I
I
there
can't
you
make it
go.
for you, and I'm not
I'm
paying
not
for
about to
it
pay the bills
either.
for it. I'm not doing that. That's not happening. It's time for you to go. If that's what you're going to do, it's time for you to go.
See,
Because that's a
that's why.
problem for me. That's a huge problem for me. You want to you want to change your sex. We ain't talking about you want to bring John over and lock the door. We talking I want to be a woman, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Hmm.
You
I
think you're
think
a
so.
woman. First of all, I failed you as a parent because how in the hell did you get that stuff in your head? How?
I
Where did that come
But
from?
can you put that really as a failure of a parent if
Yes,
that's what
Yes,
that
because
kid
I
genuinely
was it was
feel?
on my watch. It was
yeah.
on my watch.
I would have put it on Gary. I wouldn't put it on his
It
kid.
was on my watch.
So if a child believe that they're a woman, like if a child boy believe that he's a woman, you put that
If
on
you
the parent.
believe
Oh,
you're
we
a woman,
say, yeah.
hold on. If you believe you're a woman and there's no electricity in the house and there's no tablets in your school and and you get homeschooled and everything like that, then yeah, I will go ahead and get you the transitioning surgery.
Okay.
But where does that happen?
Correct. Where do you get the information for to
Where do
do
you
it
get the
at 8
information to
years
even
old?
think you might be a girl?
Yeah.
You got that online
Because
somewhere.
for
Somebody
me
had to
at
tell you
8,
that.
somebody
I
had to tell
I
you that at 8. If you 16, that's a little different. I feel
Yes.
like 16 is that time frame where you could have potentially lost your V card. You could have had some experiences. You 16, you get a lot more freedom than an 8-year-old. So
Okay.
Right.
if you said that at
I
16, I
yeah.
could kind of believe you.
Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Basically, at that age, you can basically think, "Oh, I like boys," or "I like girls." But as far as a whole sex change, that's not normal. That's not something a kid
Correct.
just
well,
comes up with.
yeah. I mean,
Okay,
it's not normal off of the cuff because I mean, if we're talking gender dysphoria, I mean, what it used to mean anyway was, that was a mental disorder. And then we ran into a wall when they decided to do away with that, and then they're putting it in schools, and that's why you got your kids coming home with, oh, I might be a girl. But then
got you.
sometimes you got parents where they see their little boy is just wearing a dress. Oh, it must be a girl. So at some point, it's like we're coming across some parents that not really doing the right thing by their kids. If a child really is going to their parents saying, "Oh, I think I'm a girl," then you got to get them a legitimate therapist. But then we even have the mental health industry that has been corrupted to some extent because you have the therapists that are,
That's gonna confirm him.
yeah,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
acute. without any question or anything.
There's
Because I
nothing you can
mean,
do. You're stuck. What at that point, game over. I don't see how you win this one. Game over. You
that's
have a
where
whole industry that's gearing to do this to your kids. So it's like you
I mean,
fucked up as a parent, in my opinion. I'm just saying you screwed up.
I've
Eight,
seen what Blair White
eight.
transitioned really young, or like socially, because then you get into the weeds with this stuff too, because then there's socially transitioning and then there's medically transitioning, like putting the little boy in the dress and then socially transitioning them to changing out their wardrobe, doing their hair differently. But then in the same breath they'll say, oh, he's non-binary. So if he's non-binary, why are you trying to transition him anyway to appear like a girl?
Well,
How
see,
does
and
that
that,
Bing,
that
boom. What
but
about being
but
a
disconnect?
those are
parent and knowing
yeah,
your kids' needs? Boom.
right.
Exactly.
Because
How
that's what I
about
was
you
gonna
be
say
a
too.
parent?
Yeah,
Do your
I
job
like
as a
that.
parent.
Yeah, I like that.
You won't
Yeah,
have this problem.
I think parents are
Because, like I
supposed to
said,
be that stopgap.
well, but see, this is the thing
Yeah,
though. I
yeah.
feel like the parent, you have to parent your kid until
Mm,
they no longer need you to do it.
yeah.
Yes.
So if you're telling me at 13 you grown, you go ahead out there and you figure it out. If you tell me at 16, hey, I'm gonna wait it out until I'm 21, I'm not the kind of in my head, I don't feel like I'm not gonna be that parent that goes, you hit 18, you gotta go. I didn't
Mm.
have those kind of
I don't
parents.
want my
You
kids to
know,
leave. I want them to stay home as long as they
yeah,
need to.
But you know
yeah.
what?
That's the
I had
same
Right.
thing.
parents
That's
that
the
were like that.
same
My
way. That's the
parents made
same way
sure
I
I
am.
had a job. I was stable. I chose this. Most of my friends laugh. I had a curfew because I stayed home till I was 26 years old. But there
What?
were
I don't know about all
I
that
was
See, yeah,
26
shit.
I
years
don't
old.
know about
But
Curfew.
I
see,
don't know.
it
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Different people, different circumstances. My mom
Mm.
traveled for work and my dad was sick. I stayed home to make sure somebody was in the house with my dad when he needed it. He
That
may
wasn't a
not have gotten up.
curfew. That was being
No. There was
you
a
was being
oh
curfew.
no.
responsible.
I had to be in the house by 3 a.m. There was a curfew. 3 a.m. is you could do a lot between whatever time and 3 a.m. But by
I don't
3
even know if
a.m.,
I want to be
I had to be in the
outside
house like that.
after 3 a.m. at 40.
Well, think about it. I was early 20s. If I went to New York to a club,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that was the sketchy
yeah,
part because if I went to a
yeah.
club in New
Yeah,
York, that meant I had to leave by 2 to hit
you're
the
right.
trap
That
before I
that
hit the
reminds
traffic.
me, yo. That reminds me, yo. I used to have this dude in my town that I grew up with, yo. His curfew, he had Haitian parents too. His curfew was like 10, I think 10 or 11 o'clock.
When
So
the street lights come on.
your man would show up at every party when it first start, let himself be known, and every 30 minutes, yo, what time is it?
Get off. Gotta
So
go.
by
Gotta
as soon as
go.
10 o'clock hit, as he was the spotlight of the party, your man was gone. Like, but
Yeah.
he got the credibility to be like, yeah, I was at that party, knowing damn well by 11 o'clock his butt better
Yeah,
be in the
yeah,
house. Yeah,
But
yeah,
see now,
yeah.
but then you also have to think about it differently this way too. That was 3 a.m. without having a night job. At one point I had a night job. My parents knew I worked the 11 to 7 shift. Guess what? The curfew was a little different. You tweaked it because you had a job. You had an
Right.
excuse to be out in the street. So that's why I'm like, it's certain things that you do when you're still in your parents' house. It's the same way as if I had a kid. I don't care if that's what you want to do. You do it
Mhm,
when you legally can afford it.
mhm.
well,
Because my job is to make sure that you get an education, you get fed, all of the other fluff, and I'm gonna call it fluff because it's to me, it's the extra stuff.
I mean,
And
You know,
I'm
and
kind of
for me,
torn on it.
it's like doing extracurriculars. You can't do what you got to do in school. What do you think the first thing is going to get cut? Your sports, your
yeah,
yeah.
activity. Because the role for me as a kid is you go to school to learn. If you if you have a learning disability or something else preventing, that's something different. Because all I want you to do is make the effort and try your best. But if I know you're a kid who can excel and you choose not to excel, that's different.
I mean, she says something very interesting there. It's like you go to school to learn, but if we look at these schools, what are they teaching a lot of now in elementary school? All
Mhm.
this LGBT stuff. So they're learning
mhm,
primarily,
You got the
Correct.
teachers hanging up the rainbow flag in the classroom. So what do you think they're going to come home with? Oh, guess what I learned in school today? These are them, they, them.
But that
And
is
then
the other thing too.
everything
As a
else is the
parent,
back
you
seat.
have to pay attention to the schools you're sending your kids to,
Right.
because I may not be as open as the class wants me to be. So then that's when you
Right.
start looking, what's your curriculum? What really is your curriculum? Not what you put on paper, because as the parent, you have the choice. You have the choice to go to the public school of the area,
Yeah.
the charter school of the area, the parochial school of the area. Each religion has their religious school of the area too. So if, as a parent, I have that choice. So and I'm not saying I'm not going to be open. I might, I'm not saying that. It's just, for me, I feel like school is for my kids to learn history. Now, if that's something that's in the history books, then I'm going to
Wait,
have to be open to it. But
Erica,
if
let me,
that's something that you're adding extra into
Erica,
the curriculum, it's a
Erica,
problem for me.
I gotta cut you off, but school should be more than just that because they gotta learn life. And if parents are scared to talk about transgenders, bisexuals, and all of that, they gotta learn it from somewhere. These schools have professionals learning these information so they could teach it to the kids. The parents aren't as educated. That's just one thing I want you to know. They're
And like I
not.
said,
But
but I'm not saying that though. For me, I want science being taught. I want parts of the body, bones. I want that kind of stuff. I'm not saying, hey, if it's not in the curriculum, fine. What I'm telling you is, I need to know what you're teaching my child. If I'm open to them learning everything, I'm fine with that. But you have to tell me, why am I don't want to teach heterosexual or anything. I want you to know the parts of the body. I don't need you to learn sex ed at 6 years old.
That's what I'm
but you
trying to
know
tell you.
what
The
though?
parents failed the kids already. That's why kids were committing suicide. So the parents' input in that isn't as important as you think. Is you're sending your kid here so I can educate them. They need to know how to walk in the real world with people that don't want you identifying them a certain way.
But
Because
I get
hold on real fast.
I get
There's
what you're
people
saying, but
calling
not at
my son
6.
she. And for me, it's like I don't even want you throwing these whatever they call it pronouns because you keep calling him she, and now my son thinking he's a girl. It's like I'm starting to understand why people don't want you making these mistakes. So I'm starting to understand, and it's like they're teaching these things because
But
we're dropping the ball.
but you know what
But
though?
it's not that though. It's, for me, it's something that, if it's already a curriculum, don't nobody know what the curriculum is. So because you don't know what the curriculum is right this second, all you're doing is making these kids test subjects. That's
But
a problem, because I am an educated person. I want the educated version of, why do I have to explain heterosexual, gay, pride
but
from jump? I don't want them
here
to know anything at 6.
but
Now,
here's
if
the
you're
thing.
telling me you're teaching sex ed at age 12, that's something
not even
completely
that.
But
different.
here's the thing though.
And I
This
want
is
that taught when you're
this
teaching
is the
sex ed.
thing. This is where we're failing as parents though, because we now have this knowledge. We have all this information that they're teaching this in school and all of this stuff. So our job as parents is to communicate with our kids and let them make them understand XYZ. So if we're not doing that, it's easy for them to get persuaded when they go to the schools and get trapped into this. Because I
Correct. But I feel
specifically have
like,
these conversations with my son, with my daughters
correct.
about these topics. So this way they can understand. Even if watching a movie and they see something, that's LGBTQ community related, I sit down and explain to them XYZ. So now
Correct.
You know,
they
a
And I'm
lot of
not saying
people.
not to
No,
teach
let
the
me say.
kids that, but
Let me,
I'm saying the schools have to know when to do it. You
but
don't
what I'm
teach it
saying
at
but,
kindergarten
but what I'm
because
saying
then
is
you're
if
having
you
them
You know
question at
that though.
if
kindergarten.
you teach it at home where you make them identify right from wrong, regardless, they're not going to be swayed because they know, hey, mom and dad taught me about this and I know XYZ. No
Yes.
school,
notice. Let
no.
me
Go ahead, Gary.
notice that we are speaking so passionately on how we are supposed to accommodate such a small minority
Hmm.
of people, and they don't even want us to say Jesus. They're
Yes,
totally against our religion. They're against the way we want to teach our children. They're constantly saying we need to learn how to deal with them. F that. All of it. I respect you, June. I am 1000% against you on that one. Sorry. I don't give a damn. These are my kids.
I mean,
Period. And
And I,
if my
yeah.
kids choose to call you a her and a his and a diz and all that other garbage, if that's what they choose to do, they can do that.
right.
I'm not about to sit here and tell them that they have to, nor do I want their teachers telling them that they have to.
Yes, but when your
Because
kid is
these
causing,
diz and his and biz and whatever the craziness is that they saying, they're disrespecting my children's religion. They're
yes,
disrespecting my moral code. They're disrespecting how I feel about calling a him a her. They're disrespecting how I look at it. So why would I ever give a damn how they feel about it?
let me tell you, because when your kid isn't respecting it, that person, and they are now coming in school and shooting my kid, I feel like your emotions doesn't matter. It goes over what really matter
So
is that
you're going to
person.
tell me that my kid is responsible for some
No, 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 no.
asshole
That's not what
bringing a
I'm saying.
gun
I'm
to
not
the,
saying
the
your kid specifically. What I'm saying
No,
is,
no, no. I'm saying you're saying that I have to respect a freaking person who's willing to take another person's life. No, no, no.
no, no,
Take
no.
that person out. Give the give give teachers the ability to be arm the teachers. We can satisfy that situation right now. Arm the teachers.
So instead of calling a person who thinks they're a she, instead of saying she, we now have to arm teachers and like, why does it have to be all of that? That's what I'm trying to
Well,
say. It doesn't warp my reality, me respecting Rex by calling Rex a her or a she. It doesn't warp my reality.
Yeah, but
I
that's
know what
you.
I am. My son know exactly what he is, and he's only 2. He know. So I make sure he will never forget. So I'm not worried about anything else you're teaching in school. It has nothing to do
And
with
then
the
when does
foundation
this
that I
slippery
gave him.
slope stop though? When
No,
does
but
this
it's
slippery
not.
slope
That's
stop?
it's gonna miss me because the what I'm putting in him, it's way stronger than whatever they're
yes.
teaching him.
This,
I'm not worried about it. I want him to respect everyone. If that's what she want to be called, just respect it. Just stay out of trouble. So when she come in that school shooting, or he come in that school shooting, she knew you were never disrespectful to her. She knew all you did was give respect, and you kept your nose. You just moved
Wow.
forward.
When
That's it.
she comes into the school, did you hear what you just said? When she comes into the school
Wait, I could.
shooting, because somebody called this
Well,
person a
here's the
he.
thing. We
Yeah,
got to understand
answer.
too. Dating back from 2000, I think 10 to now, as far as shootings in the schools, it was only four situations where it was transgender. So that is such a small, minute percentage of that happening.
But you don't know how many of them were gay or something. You don't know LGBTQ. You don't know how many fell within that spectrum. I'm telling you. So with the harassment, we had people in my school, two that committed suicide, and one
But
of them,
but
my boys
but
used to
June, but
harass me.
June, binary
Uh
is
huh.
not gay. Binary, like not like saying binary, non-binary, and all that. That has nothing to do with the get. Like that's part of the LGBTQ umbrella, but it's not a gay thing.
yeah.
It's not a trans thing.
Well, it's,
That's just that's just a non-binary when you're talking about calling he she. Because a gay person, I'm to my knowledge, doesn't really worry about being called a he or she. They're not big
I
on
got a question for
pronouns.
you, June.
Uh huh.
I got a question on you, June.
Yeah.
What about the men who are shooting
dark
up
here.
schools because they didn't get any sex? Because they
Hmm.
can't, because they don't know how to get women
I'm
to
not
have
saying
sex
that.
with
I
them.
know where you're going. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying. Of course, wait. Based on your logic, women should be putting out more, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I
That's what you
shouldn't.
said to
No, what
me.
I'm
Hold
saying is,
on.
I'm
You
telling you what I'm
said to
saying.
wait. You literally just said that I'm supposed to tell my kid to call this dude a girl so he can feel better about himself. When you have men running around shooting up schools because I couldn't get no play.
Mhm.
So what you're saying to women is that they should be more loosey goosey with their sexual life.
No, because I'm saying respect. I'm saying I should not be bothering him because he's not getting sex.
But
That's
you're
what I'm saying.
disrespecting you're forcing my kid to use a pronoun that they don't want to use.
But why? With a kid, why doesn't the kid want to use it? It's the parent putting
That's
that
their
into the kid.
choice.
Yes, but it's the parent's
Okay.
choice. It's not really
Okay.
the kid.
So I
Parents
say
don't
to my
care.
kid,
Well,
I say to my child, if you want to call this person a her and she is a he, and my kid says I'm not doing that, I gotta take my hands off of it, right? I'm not gonna force my kid to do that.
But to be
My
honest, I
kid
would
doesn't
rather.
see a
Hold on,
her.
okay.
But I
Rex,
would rather your kid just say their name.
Rex,
If that's the
yeah,
case, and you
exactly,
don't want
yeah.
to say he or she, if your name, if
I'd
your
rather my
name
kid
That's
is
what.
avoid
is
that
That's
other kid
Karen,
like
then
the
I'm gonna
plague.
call you
I'd
Karen.
rather my kid avoid that kid like the plague because it might be a slip up.
Rex.
Well,
Will
see, but
Rex
that's
look like Rex?
go
Let
ahead,
Rex
Rex.
look
You
like
look
Rex
like
was
you want
gonna
to say
say
something.
something.
Go ahead.
I'm in my head
Yeah,
is
you're the
thinking,
only one that can actually chime in on this because I'm just
Yes, exactly.
yeah, thanks a lot. No pressure at all. Sure. Um,
And Rex, the makeup
wait. How you
game.
talking about
Re-
pressure, dude? You gotta
I was about
forget.
to
Never
say,
mind.
Rex, the makeup game is better than a lot of women be doing. You know, the makeup because
Why would you give
they
him
be
that level of?
they be no
I
because they
told
be
you I don't
over
even
they
do
be
that.
over
So you awesome.
exaggerating with it because like a little decent amount of makeup is cool. When I see chicks that just like the makeup is just I'm like that's too much. But nah, that's a
Wally,
perfect combination.
Wally, Wally. I'm trying to discourage him from doing this again. So please.
yeah, I ain't gonna have to, Gary.
Look, you do what you feel because I already told you you better than me because I ain't pulling up. I ain't doing it.
This
I'm
ain't
not
even
doing
me.
it.
This is a professional makeover. Like I could not do this.
Oh, okay, all right,
Yeah, no, this is not my skills.
all right.
Yeah,
We're
but see,
talking
but
about.
you all, but even if it's not your skills, you know how to contact somebody to do that for you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'm not even doing that.
I went
And
through a
he paid
long
for it
list.
handsomely.
Yes, it
He
did.
paid good money for that.
I
I'm
Good
went
I'm
through
gonna
it
money.
tell you, I
hardcore.
got 2 times where you saw this all done up. My wedding day, and I used to do pageants for a split second.
But see, here's
That
the
was
thing: you
it.
got a natural beauty for you, so you don't have to do all that makeup crap. You got a natural beauty.
Yeah, there's
You
a
good.
whole bunch of contouring and feminization type of technology going on there
And it
with the
didn't do nothing
makeup.
for that chin. Continue.
Oh,
I mean, that's your opinion. There's plenty of dudes in my DMs that would disagree with you, Gary.
We are
he said my
what
DM
these
game.
dudes are
He
in your
said my
DM.
DM game is awesome.
exactly.
Get it?
let
Get
This
Get it?
escalated
I'm
quickly.
let
saying
You
the
her
wrong
want to put
hand. I
me in
couldn't
your
say it
let
with my.
Gary
DM? I
know,
can tell you
Rex. Let Gary know, Rex.
I should pull an
that. Well,
AOC.
listen.
Gary just wants
Go
me in fucking.
Three
ahead.
steps
Go
up in
ahead.
a circle.
Go ahead, Rex. What you was gonna say?
Um, yeah, I was gonna say my brain is pulling me in a thousand directions with this school stuff. I mean,
Wait a minute. You have eyelashes on too? Oh my god, dude! You
yeah,
got the eyelashes
professional.
too,
Yeah. Mhm.
If you gotta
bro.
do it, you
You
gotta
got
do it
to do
right.
it. Yeah.
If
You
you
know
gotta
how
Bunch of
do
like
it, you
glitter
gotta
in
so
do
when
it
my
there.
wife was
All the glitter.
yeah, and so is it in the eyelashes or under the eyelash lid? Because there's a certain way they do them.
Yeah, they put them on top, and then
They
it's
put
like a
them
little
on
bit of
top.
On
glue.
top.
I would never know that.
I did
Yeah,
pageants.
I got yeah.
I got
Yeah.
them long eyelashes. Now all my kids got some long eyelashes, but I ain't had them. So I had to add on some stuff when I did
Yeah,
pageants
and
I
then you
because
should
I
like
not
had to
know
curl
fit in.
any
them,
of this.
and it's a whole
Any of it.
thing. It's awesome. It's a great time for me. Anyway, yeah, I think these kids are under a whole lot of social pressure because they're brought into the
Yes.
classrooms and then they're given all this. I don't like to call it ideology because it's like, Aaron in the chat earlier was calling it transgenderism. Does anybody even have a definition for what transgenderism mean? Because there's this whole kind of, I think, umbrella term where everybody's kind of opinion and always means something else to somebody else. It's always an evolving definition of transgenderism or gender ideology. Like, exactly what is the ideology that they're instilling? Some people say it's Marxism, then some people say it's just a whole concept of non-binary and they're erasing the genders. So it's like when you have these kids that it depends on what age we're talking about. I guess your teens to your like elementary school kids, and then you bring in like things like drag queen story hour. I I can't see myself being okay with like one of the drag queen story hours. There's this 8-year-old little boy sitting there, and that was like the day I knew I drew a line in the sand with it, because there's a little 8-year-old boy asking what appears to be like a 40-year-old overweight man in a costume, not even a strong makeup game. I wouldn't even call that drag.
and this little boy is asking this drag queen if he has a penis. And the
Mm.
drag queen replies, "Oh, I have a girl penis." That's where we're
What?
crossing a line and we're getting
Wow.
into corruption. Like that little boy's mind has been corrupted
Oh yeah.
and manipulated into
And
thinking,
my
what the
thing is,
hell
you,
is a girl penis? That
but you
doesn't
say that to an
exist.
8-year-old, and now it's like, once that knowledge is in their head, it don't always
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah, so they're
Mhm.
gonna go home to their parents like, "Oh, mommy, what's a girl penis?" Like, how do you even answer that question? There's no such thing as a girl penis. That doesn't exist. And then I end up talking to somebody on this other social MeWe group. Was a young, I would say maybe 20-year-old, what appeared to be, I can't even tell if it was a female or male. But then I'm saying, no, trans women are not women. It doesn't work like that. I can't agree. And then she's like, no, trans women are women because trans women are females with girl penises. I mean, the total disconnect from reality there, that's a straight up like go seek some help because there's no adherence to the reality of this world. So it's like when we get into the classroom and you want to force the whole classroom to accept these one or two people in the classroom of Zer Zim and they them, or you're gonna have a kid that's wearing cat ears identifying as a cat. These kids are gonna be so screwed up in life. Like what every time they go to a place of work or a place of business, what is the first thing in their mind is going to be like, oh, what pronouns do I think of? Because no one's really thinking of watching their or policing their own speech. And then like, well, I'm a big proponent of freedom of speech as well. I wouldn't force anybody in here to call me she her. That would be just a concept of respect. Like back to June was saying, it's respect, but I'm not going to force myself because that's disrespectful as well. Like me trying to force my pronouns on June would be disrespectful, like from me to him. Like if I would to demand that and then also seek to place punishments on top of that. But then we're adults. Imagine that's a kid. Like imagine a kid getting dragged into a principal's office because he didn't want to call Garriette a she. Like where are we
Check,
going with trying to police that?
check this out.
Mm.
In UK, I don't know if you guys heard about Ilsa Bryson,
Oh yeah, Barbie.
but that was the individual that a transgender that basically got convicted for R-ing two women. And during the trial, the prosecutor was literally referring to her saying she graped the individuals with her penis. Like through the trial, that's what basically they were saying. Oh, this transgender woman, she graped these individuals with her penis. Like
Yeah,
that's bananas to me.
But
I think. Go ahead, June.
no, I was just gonna say, but that goes to what I'm saying. The world we're shifting towards, that's how it is. It's not our world anymore. Where we were raised, where we can say certain things, doesn't exist. So the world the kids are going into, we're going to get them in trouble if we're telling them just live in your reality, say what you gotta say. They're going to get in trouble all day
But
nonstop.
but these other people are trying to live in their reality. They're trying to force us to live in their reality.
Yeah.
But it's shifting towards accepting their reality and moving away from our
No, it's
reality.
not. No, it's not. That's propaganda. That's what it made. It seems like that, but it's not that.
See,
And
You're
my thing
like,
talking
is kids are
about
kicked out of school.
a
In
vast
school,
majority, a vast majority of the people who are LGBT are against this 100%.
yeah,
This
like
is just temporary. I don't think this is going. This is all because Biden is in office, my dude. We changed this dude to change the stuff changed just like that. This is not going to last longer than a couple of more years once we get the right president in here.
I think I heard
Not saying
Biden.
that I trust the president of the United States. What I'm saying is I just don't see this lasting too long. Good night, Urigot. Urigot,
Yeah.
how you
I
say
didn't
that?
know.
Good night,
Rex, what
brother.
are you
We
about to
gonna
Good
say?
night.
I think I recently heard it was just I didn't confirm it, but I think Biden flipped on a sports policy. I think he said that the government like sports can do what they want. They can ban transgender women from their leagues if they want. So I think Biden didn't actually flip on that. But I just heard it. I didn't actually confirm it. I might want to
research it,
go
but
to
that's what you're thinking, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, because that's
so
what I heard in a Twitter space from like a primarily LGBT. But I would absolutely agree with that too, because why does my community get to rewrite the rules for everybody else? Why does my community get to go
They
ahead and
don't.
abolish gender?
They
Like
Not
this
don't.
they
They
whole
do
don't.
though.
non-binary concept
I'm
of gender.
raising men that's gonna push back hard as hell on that. They don't.
But you
Yeah.
see how black people, we were rewriting the rules and the whatever. Black people, then women and transgenders. The disenfranchised will always start rewriting the rules because they feel like we're keeping something from them. So it's really their agenda right now. I'm just
And look
saying.
at how many. But wait a minute, June. Look
Uh
at how
huh.
many women are looking at this saying, "Yeah, we made big, grave mistakes." You know what I
Um,
mean? They're like, there's a lot of women. It's like, yeah,
Is it too
we
late
made a
though?
boo boo.
Is it too late though? Because they
No,
It's
did.
it's
not.
not.
It's
It's
not.
not
Okay.
because you have to
No.
remember laws change periodically. Things change. So if things get rewritten or edited, it will always change. So I didn't know this. And like I said, I'm not always informed. I just realized there's some of these schools, like, yes, do I want history being taught? Of course, I want everybody's history being taught. How about I didn't even realize LGBTQ plus has been taught in most schools since 2010. But they're going to get a snippet like most other people. They throw it in the back of the book. So if your school gets to that back of the book, you may or may not learn it. The same way because you have to think about it. Pride Month is what, June, if I'm not mistaken? So if Pride Month is June, the kids, depending on where you go to school, are already out of school. So
Yep.
the curriculum may or may not get to those subjects. But I did do the research because I was curious because I knew, certain schools have certain age brackets that they teach that stuff at. That curriculum starts when kids hit middle school. So that's 6th through 8th for some of these states.
60.
So they
and
did start taking it out of those primary years, that K through 5, because those were touchy subjects for K through 5. When they were getting, when they start doing stuff at the school board, they felt that kids in the ages of 12 and older were more open to those conversations because they are starting to get those feelings about that time. Most,
What feeling?
you have a few kids that hit puberty early, but most kids start hitting puberty towards 11 or better. So then that's when they started introducing those curriculums in at that point.
Wow.
Well,
and
listen, we're going to stop it right here because
and I
it's
let me
been.
just say one thing that Rex,
And
the
then you
thing you was
close it
talking
out.
about, yeah, the thing you was talking about
Okay.
with Biden is it's a Biden administration proposed to forbid outright bans to transgender athletes sparked outrage from conservative leaders. So
Oh,
his proposal is to ban sports like the sports from like banning trans from competing.
wow. So
The only place like it's a limit to how much they can ban is like in high schools and elementary schools and stuff like that. But as far as like college and yeah, they fighting to
you
ban it
double
to
down.
double down on it. So all
Wait,
right,
You know, it's a real easy solution to that. Every sports team just go on a strike. You know how much
yeah.
money they're going to lose, the country's going to lose a shit ton of money doing that.
That's what I
Just
Facts.
go
said
on
on Twitter
strike.
the other day. That's what I
They say,
said. If
okay, we're
women,
just not going to do it. We're just going to go on strike. We're
if
all going to go on strike, and we'll just play b-ball on hot summer Tuesday or
yeah.
something. I don't know,
I was
And the
saying,
thing is,
but
it's the women that are being affected. It's not men's
yeah,
sports; it's women's sports that are being
yeah.
affected.
right, because you got
Yeah,
the dudes can't compete. Well, people say they can't compete like that, but it is what it is. But
yeah.
listen, it's been a wonderful live. I just want to say thank you guys for coming. Thank you everybody on the panel. Thank you everybody that's on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. This is Gary Lamb signing off. You guys have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.